That was funny. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. The time is 6:04 p.m. We're going to go ahead and commence the City Commission workshop, which does not require a quorum. Madam Clerk, can you go ahead and call the roll?
Commissioner Sharnoff,
Here.
Commissioner Florimon, Commissioner Jean. Commissioner Smith has a scheduled conflict. She's at Eastern Shores at another meeting. Commissioner Fortuna Smuckler.
Present.
Vice Mayor Michael Joseph. Mayor Anthony DiFilippo.
I am here.
You all set, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move on to discussions. Commissioner Smuckler, I believe you had item 2.1.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. So the first item that when I requested this meeting was the Sergeant at Arms. Is it Sergeant at Arms or of Arms? It's that? Okay. Okay. So, so in my first less than 2 years of office, because then COVID came and changed so many events and places to be at. We never had the Sergeant at Arms. I think one time we, all 7 of us went to Tallahassee, and we took one of those big vans, and someone from Parks and Recs drove us to the airport, right? Mm-hmm. And I think one time the former clerk was being made the president of the Clerks Association, and it was in West Palm Beach, and 4 of us wanted to go, and in order that there wouldn't be an appearance of any type of sunshine violation, we had a city employee drive us so that there would. Right. So, kind of witness to make sure, so that no one can accuse us of anything. But other than that, and I think when we did go to the MLK parade, the trolley may have taken us, all 7 of us. So
We went to the anti-Semitism rally.
Oh yes, when we went to the rally at the hand for what? The Holocaust Memorial. The manager, Sori, was kind enough to get us a trolley, and we all used it, and in fact took not just us, but took several residents there as well. So other than that, we've never had a Sergeant at Arms, and now we're having it. And first of all, to me, it's the biggest problem is that we're actually using a police officer when that police officer or any police officer should be patrolling our streets and keeping our residents safe and our businesses safe and our visitors safe. And instead, they're driving the commissioners around. This is not something we had in the past. This is not something that our city does. This is not something that Aventura does, Sunny Isles does. I think there's maybe 2 cities that do it. And I kind of wanted to get a consensus from my commissioners to see if it was not something we voted on. So it's, I guess it was something that was asked of the manager to do. So if my fellow commissioners agree, then I would direct the manager not to offer this service anymore.
Commissioner Chernoff?
All I know is that when I was councilman before, we never had anything called Sergeant at Arms or anything like that, but we did have police that did come with us on certain things, like, if we had we went to the chief swearing in Canada. A lot of police were on there with us. Whenever we've needed a police officer because of some reason that we think we needed one or something was going to happen, there was always one provided. So I don't know why we need somebody to be designated as the sergeant of arms.
But you went to a chief's thing for police officers, so they were going. They were planning on going. Okay, so it's not like they went exclusively for you. Okay, all right.
I would just, for the record, just concur. Having been here for so long, and knowing what we've done in the past and what's been happening the past few years, I myself, as the mayor, move about the community, and I don't use a sergeant at arms. And I concur with my commissioner that whenever we've gone as a group, we've used the city trolley or Parks and Recreation bus. But I have never used a sergeant at arms position, and I do feel that that position, as my fellow colleague has said, has been abused, and I don't think that it's something that we really need. So I would have to agree with what you've said.
And I just want to say that I did use it one time because I went to a meeting as a commissioner to the Miami-Dade County Public Library in downtown Miami, and the parking is impossible, and just walking there to the library wasn't safe. And once I got there, I realized that it was like so ridiculous, and I almost didn't even want to take it back. I was actually calling my husband to see if he can pick me up because I felt so guilty, like I had such a guilt on me for even doing it in the first place, and he couldn't pick me up. So so I didn't even. I mean, unfortunately, they had to take me back afterwards, but I felt horrible about it. I think it was such a waste of a use of having a police officer driving me around when they really could have been, and thank God nothing bad happened during that time. But I felt horrible, and I said never again.
Well, I have a question. I don't know, maybe this is a question that may arouse your curiosity as well. What is this position costing us at this time? And can anybody have that information?
It's not a separate position. They're current employees that we have employed through the city. We have about 5 people that are trained to be sergeant at arms. As far as I believe overtime wise, from November of 2021 when we started logging it, I think over that from till date has maybe been about $27,000 spent. Mm-hmm. So that's it.
$27,000 in the past, since we've started using?
No.
Since we started logging.
Okay, since you started logging, okay. I'm sure it's much more than that going back, but that's what we know up to now.
So you started logging in November?
Yes, November of 2021.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm trying to get at, fellow commissioners, and the point I'm trying to get at is that this could easily be another officer that we have on the street patrolling our community, making our streets safer, making sure that we have the community protection and giving our chief of police the necessary resources for her to be able to bring on, and I'm sure we can find more opportunities to find even more money, but to bring on the officers that we need to bring on and make the city a city that's going to be that will attract and appeal, as other cities have packages for police officers to be able to attract good police officers that want to come and work for a great city like ours. So, I just think that we can be putting those resources again towards officers that we need on the force, and incentivizing packages, programs that we have for them to sign up and stay. And I've spoken to the chief one-on-one about those necessities and perks that we would like to have for the police officers. So that's my thoughts, and I hope you entertain them.
So these sergeant at arms, are they on duty or off duty when they're doing this?
I'll let the chief answer that one.
It depends on the time of the request. It could be where the officers are currently on duty, or it can be when they're off duty, and that's when the overtime is incurred.
And then, for example, there was a sergeant of, I'm not going to say any names, but there was a sergeant of arms used for a commissioner on January 1st to go from their house, which is right around the corner, to the monastery, which is like half a mile, and then left. The sergeant of arms was there waiting for that officer, and this was January 1st at, I don't know, 10 p.m. Is that double overtime?
So it wouldn't have been double overtime. It depends on what officer was assigned, because that officer could have been working or off. So if he was off duty at the time, then it would have been overtime.
Okay, and if he was on duty, then we took him away from the streets?
Not necessarily, because their positions are, some of their positions are on road patrol, and some of them are assigned to other duties within the police department.
Okay, so we took them off from doing their police work.
Yes, yes.
Any questions for the chief, Commissioner?
No, I just think we need to look at it. For sure.
Well, I think we need to direct the manager now and have it stopped, because it'll just continue.
That's fine with me.
Well, it's the will of the commissioners that are here at this workshop. It's the will of the commissioners that are here at this workshop to give the manager that direction and maybe bring it up at if he should have any questions. What is your request, Commissioner?
Well, we never voted on this as in a commission meeting, so if we direct the manager, if he gets a direction from us.
You have a direction, Mr. Manager?
I would, it's something that was here before I got here. I just put the rules in place for it and put an actual policy in place, and then made people start logging what was happening. But I do hear what's being said, and I'll prepare an item to go on the next agenda for it to be ended. I'll do that.
Why does it have to go on the agenda?
Because we'll have to get a consensus from everybody to vote it
Didn't
off.
go on the agenda to start.
But it was already in place.
No, but it was dormant. It was dormant because nobody used it. So we want it to be dormant again. We don't want to use it. There's nothing.
I mean, you can-
If you didn't bring it up at the beginning, there's no reason why you have to bring it up to end. I'm just saying.
And you can, I'm sure that you can call the other 4 commissioners and ask them their opinion, and I'm going to tell you from campaigning prior to being elected, I can tell you that I'm pretty confident that Commissioner Smith will not want it as well. So I'm going to tell you that I believe you will have the 4 after you speak to her.
Okay, that being.
So are we clear, or?
I mean, I understand what's being said.
So we want it to become dormant again.
I understand, but for me to do that, I mean, it has to be a vote. You guys have to vote for me to do it.
There wasn't a vote to undo it.
It was in place when I was here already.
Okay, but it was dormant, and you got a consensus for make it undormant. I'm sure that's not a word. And now we're giving you the consensus to make it dormant again.
Okay. Same way we started it
He's
is the
not-
same way we ended.
Well,
Okay.
he's not agreeing to this, so this is a problem.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just,
Have the policy? Where's the policy?
I believe I do have a policy. Yeah, I have mine. Okay.
I have one more.
I would make a suggestion, Mr. Manager. There's obviously consent by 3 that are up here. Can call the other 4 and see how they feel about it. And if there's a consensus of the 7, then go ahead and take it away.
Just the way he did it. That's what I agree, and I think that's the right thing to do. You agree, Commissioner Smucker?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Manager. Okay? We agree?
This was effective November of 2021. It wasn't before you were here.
I put parameters on what was happening because I thought it needed to be put under some kind of structure. It was no structure. So when people were asking for it, it was being done. I put structure in what was going to happen. That way, made sure no one, got in trouble with it or was just to make sure that it had reasons. It had to be approved. What was the timeline? Information like that. So I put structure behind it. That's what I did. It was happening when I got here. And I said, because
It was not happening when you.
when I got here, there were requests coming in, and people had done it. So when I did get here,
Was doing it. When you got here was not.
Under Manager Scott, nobody was doing that here.
Nobody was doing that. There was the occasional, like we took the trolley to MLK parade. All 7 of us were driven not by a sergeant at arms, but by Parks and Rec, and the trolley was by a trolley driver. I was never in a car driven anywhere by a police officer, and I can guarantee you that Commissioner Smith wasn't, and Commissioner Kramer wasn't, and he's saying he wasn't.
So whatever was effective, we just like to be ineffective and dormant the way it was. There's no need to be spending. I think that's the consensus you have here. And as Commissioner Chernoff said, please call and speak to the other 4 commissioners. And if you have your 4 consensus or more, great. And get back to us.
Right, and especially if there's commissioners who are not willing to even come to commission meeting or workshops, then they really don't even have a right to be using it ever.
Okay. All right, Manager. Commissioner Smucker, you have the next item, 2.2.
Yeah, procedure and policy for city events regarding commissioner names and pictures on social media, handouts, and flyers. So again, when I was first appointed and then elected, our events, our very limited events, were, it always said something to the effect of the commission, the mayor and city of North Miami Beach, and Commissioner so-and-so, or in the Commission on the Status of Women and Commissioner so-and-so, but it was never all about a commissioner, and our faces, one person's face was never splattered in the
Brochure.
the flyers, the face, social media. It was always about all 7 of us, which is how it should be, regardless about how we are getting along or not getting along on the dais. This isn't a competition about who is having more events or whose face is on more events and whose name. We're all equals. And I think that among other things, and this is one of the many things that I'm including in here, that I made a promise in my swearing in that my face would be taken off of the farm share event. And the very next day, I gave direction to Public Affairs to remove my face, my picture from the farm share event. And I believe I also gave direction, instead of it saying Commissioner Smuckler presents, it was the City of North Miami Beach and Mayor and Commissioner Fortuna Smuckler. And I'm okay with actually taking my name off completely, because it's really all about all of us, and it's not about one of us. And that's the way it should be. So I just wanted to see how my fellow commissioners felt about our names and pictures being put on social media. That's the first one, but let's just do one at a time. So social media handouts and flyers.
Should be all of us.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mayor?
Oh, I agree.
Manager? Are you okay with that, or?
It's again, it's not my decision. If you guys don't want it, you guys don't want it. I mean, I understand.
Okay, and then,
Should be all of us, the mayor and commission. That's what we are.
okay, so then, talking about, and I wish Commissioner Smith were here, because talking about commissioner names and pictures on the events, so if, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor, that Commissioner Smith is now the liaison to the seniors?
That is correct.
Okay, so I just got an email, I believe it was yesterday, stating that there's a senior luncheon that Commissioner Jean is doing. So, but if Commissioner Smith is the liaison, why is someone else's name going on that?
I couldn't answer that. I think that's probably inappropriate, and if anything, I think those commissioners should be working together to help all seniors. We are one city.
So do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not 100%.
Okay, so there's a luncheon, I think it's this Friday, maybe tomorrow, and it's a senior luncheon. It was,
I think it was today.
oh, it was today? No, the one with the Club High.
Yeah, today.
Oh, okay, so. Okay, so it's an organization that's doing some senior lunches, and I didn't see Commissioner Smith's name on it. I saw Commissioner John's name on it, but my recollection is that Commissioner Smith is a liaison. Now, we could do things together. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be one commissioner. What's going on? Tell me.
She's just updating me on what's happening.
Let's give her a moment so we can all hear.
Okay.
My question is, where's it generated from? Who does the posting?
Public affairs. But they go work at the direction of the manager, in the manager's office.
And from, we don't have a problem with the senior luncheon. Don't think we have a problem with the luncheon. The problem is that if it's a senior event, then it shouldn't be taken away from Commissioner Smith. It should be maybe both. If Commissioner Jean is bringing it to the city, then they can do both of them, that they both present, but you can't like hog. You know, I had the same problem. You know, I'm the liaison to the Commission on Status of Women, and last year there were, you know, several commissioners were doing women event when it really should be included with the commission, not even me, but the Commission on the Status of Women should have been part of it. And then there was the cleanup, I think like a year and a half ago, there was for Earth Day, there was a cleanup, and that should have been the beautification committee, but it was done by another commissioner. And it's fine if one commissioner thinks of it, but, you know, please include the liaison to that appropriate committee activity to be part of it.
It kind of seems like everybody's going in their own direction and doing different events instead of coming together as one, which is what we need to be doing.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring it.
Mr. Mayor,
One city, one mission, one vision.
I can give a perfect example, okay? During the campaign, there was a complete, one person was in charge of all the events, and that went out. And it went out to everybody, and it was giving that person some exposure in the community, but somebody had directed it, it was out there. So all we're saying is, let's get it right. The commissioner that's in charge of it gets a say, gets a word, gets their name there, but also it starts with mayor and commission approve this event, so that everybody gets the credit.
Right, but
it's from all of us.
But what I'm trying to say that if there's a senior luncheon, it should be the liaison.
It should fall under the
liaison. If there's a women's event, it should fall under the Commissioner of Status for Women. If there's a Earth Day event, it should fall out of beautification. Oh, out of you. And if and if another commission wants to bring it forward to you, then you can do it together.
Absolutely.
You know, and with the rest of the city of North Miami Beach. And by the way, that Club High are they renting from, how is that, what is going, can you please explain to me what that is?
So the individual today that do it, it's an outside agency that's, reached out to us, a nonprofit agency, I believe it is, and asked to do a senior luncheon, 5 senior luncheons for the Jewish community. Well, for a community, but it's kosher food is the only thing that's served.
Yeah.
I think he originally reached out to Commissioner John, so he provides everything. He originally reached out to Commissioner John, so he's been working with her on it from the beginning. I think they had conversations, and that's how he came to the city. So I think that's why you see her picture and the advertisement with her, because she was working with the gentleman when he came to the city to do it.
So again, share it with Commissioner Smith is all I'm saying, because she's in charge of the seniors. Like, don't take away from Commissioner Smith. Don't take away from this, whoever the liaison is to the seniors. Don't take away from whoever the liaison is for that. And let's not have 20, I'm sorry, but, I don't want to waste money. I would love to give you a lunch every month, but let's not have 20 lunches every month. Let's, and I'm exaggerating 20, but, let's do things right. Let's do one nice one. Let's not do, and let's not be competitive, because seriously, that's how I felt the last year of being a commissioner. I felt like it was a competition.
Go ahead.
Andres, Andres, did everybody know, manager, assistant manager, attorney, know that the committees have changed? When the liaisons changed, did that go out to everybody?
Yeah, we got an email. We got
Oh, we got it. Did they get it?
I'm going to probably say that my staff, the people who do the events probably know, and the people, the liaisons, the staff liaisons, they know it. It wouldn't be something that I would see or my assistants.
I'm not saying,
But I'm sure.
Clarify, Madam Clerk, did you include the charter officers when you sent that out?
I can't say for certain that I did, but I know I sent it to the commissioners, and I spoke with the different departments regarding the specific boards. But I have to agree with the city manager. I don't know if I included it. I'll look back, and if I didn't, I will forward it to you if you need to have that.
Okay, so we're not sure about the charter officers, but you're sure that
I spoke
all
with the different
commissioners
departments.
Okay, so all commissioners know what boards, so, they should
Yes.
have known to share.
That was done in December sometime.
Like, look, the multicultural committee is going to be, God willing, meeting on Monday, and we're going to do we always do something for Black History Month, but there's already another Black History event. I would love to do just one big one better one, instead of doing 2 mediocre ones. So there's one now, February 1st, that Commissioner Jean is doing, and we're going to be meeting and picking a date, God willing, and we'll be picking a date too. So now we're having 2 events. We can have one nicer one. We can share. We can be together instead of doing individual competitions, because that's what I see it as, is just everybody's trying to compete against everybody, and that's not what we're supposed to do as commissioners. And then one last question that I have. There's a Comic-Con event coming up. You know what, let me just look in I'm just going to look at my phone so I can get a picture of it. But there's a Comic-Con event that's coming up in February, and it says that it's sponsored by Michael Joseph Esquire, by Commissioner Michael Joseph Esquire. What does that mean, sponsored by him? Why doesn't it say the commission, unless is he paying for it on his own, or his own pocket, or?
Let me get the answer to that for you. I'll have to get the answer to you. I'm not sure.
Okay, because, so this is a for-profit event. I believe it's a for-profit event. And I went to it last year. I was the only commissioner that went to it last year, I think. And I know the organizer really well. We all do. And it was a great event. It was really successful. It was wonderful. Last year was the first year. It says here year 2. But it says here, sponsored by Commissioner Michael Joseph Esquire. So if he's paying for it out of his own pocket, that's one thing. But if not, then it needs to say the commission, Mayor and Commission. Although I'm not sure this is something we voted on to do. I'm not sure we're supposed to vote on it. I'm not sure if it's just direction from the manager. But those are just a few examples of, and I don't want anybody to think I'm picking on anyone. I'm not. It is what it is. I'm just giving examples. And if someone tells me there's something that Commissioner Chernoff did or the mayor did with their name, I would be more than happy to call out those names as well, or myself. So, and look, there was a diaper drive that I'm doing right now, and I didn't even put my name on it. I completely just did the Commission on the Status of Women, because it's not supposed to be about us. It's supposed to be about our committees and about...
And I understand. The one thing that I do want to say is, when a commissioner calls and asks for something, you know, it's a commissioner calls and asks, oh, you know, I need a flyer for Comic-Con or whatever we just were talking about. You know, it's you know, kind of, I mean, I need to do the flyer for the commission. Commission call, you need to show up to a meeting. I show up to a meeting. I mean, those are things, and I think if we want to say, if it's the will of the board, okay, we want no more pictures on flyers, then at the commission meeting, hey, there are no more pictures on flyers. We're putting, you know, we're going to put together some legislation to say there's no more pictures of flyers. I mean, I think some of this stuff that is happening is dragging administration into the middle of something, but it could all be addressed at a commission meeting by a simple vote. No flyers, no pictures on flyers, period, that's it. And then now we're out of it because everybody calls and asks for something different. Now it might be, you know, you're asking for something else. Or people call, and our job is to take care of what the commissioners asked us to do, but I don't want to, I mean, administration shouldn't be drug into the middle of it. I'll put together the legislation to come back for everything that we're asking for, but I would ask that it be voted on in the meeting. That way we have the clear
If we ever have a meeting.
But time out. There was never legislation to start this to begin with. So we're going back to what we spoke about before. The moment that you, as the manager, allow this to occur, you set a precedent for other commissioners to want to do the same thing. And so this has never happened in the city. It's always been the mayor and commission. It's always been the mayor and commission before. That's how it was with our previous manager. And when certain commissioners came in here and respectfully started to politicize their position and push public affairs to start putting their pictures on things, it created a disaster. And that's why public affairs fell apart before, and they burned down the house. And that's why we lost every single employee, walked out of public affairs office, and they resigned because they were pissed of getting burned out by certain commissioners that kept pushing them to do certain things. And Commissioner Smuckler, you were here when that happened, so you can attest to that. And that's what happened here. So the buck starts and stops with you, Mr. Manager. If you allow it to happen, then you have to end it.
You're being directed by 3 commissioners right now, and again, campaigning, going door to door with Commissioner Smith prior to both of us being elected. I can tell you that I'm pretty confident that she will say the same, and that right there and there you have 4. And unless Commissioner, Vice Mayor Joseph has paid for this event out of his own pocket, not his contingency, because the contingency is still city money, then I suggest that that flyer gets changed to the commission, the mayor and commission of the city of North Miami Beach. And that's actually not even an event that his boards that he's on do. Just saying. Okay. And I think I'm finished with this, but can I go back to the Sergeant at Arms? So
Let me just make sure Commissioner Chernoff, you have any other comments on item 2.2?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, so we're done with that. Commissioner Smuckler has requested to chime in on item 2.1 again. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So the Sergeant at Arms uses SUVs. Are these SUVs used for anything else other than Sergeant at Arms? Chief?
Yes, they're also used for pool cars. Yes.
Pool cars?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Do you keep a log on those pool cars, manager?
I believe Fleet does. Yeah, I believe Fleet does. If somebody goes and requests
Sure,
one.
though?
I'm not positive. I'm not positive of the process. There's a process for the pool cars, I'm sure. You got to go check them out. So I'm sure that the Fleet Department has that.
Could you possibly provide at least, I don't know, maybe others might want it, but maybe us up here, a copy of that, maybe going back for the past year?
No problem.
Okay. Is that something that you commissioners would want to see? I know I would want to see it.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you were done with item 2.1, Commissioner? That was you went back to that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Item 2.3 is Commissioner Chernoff's item.
All right. During the campaign, there was a lot of talk about people's P cards and how the P cards were being used and administrated. Now, when I was a commissioner before, there was nothing called a P card. We got $1,000 a month as an expense account, period. That was it. And if we needed more, we went to the manager, we went to the mayor, we went to whoever and asked them to support it. I don't have a problem with the policy of P cards. You got a great policy here. That's 14 pages of what and how to administer this program and how we should be abiding by it. The problem with the P cards is that people are spending in 12 months $13,000, total of $29,000, total of $45,000, total of $9,000. Commissioners are 13, 10, 12, some 0. Nobody is administering this. I know that we're your boss. I understand that, and you don't want to tell me how to spend it or to do it. But when you give me the card, there's rules to it. And I should be. For anything over 1,000, I need your approval. And nobody's getting approvals for anything. So I'm sure that I'm not sure, but your staff may be the same thing. Your staff's numbers, look at them, and the numbers are just astronomical about these P cards. And if they're used for, let's say, your staff is getting called as using it a lot because they're doing the food for the council meeting. Well, then the food for the council meeting shouldn't be doing on somebody's P card. It should be done from the manager's budget or the council's budget or somebody's budget.
And that's what it used to be.
Well, it used to be done. You know, we never had as much food as you have now. We had cookies. We had cookies and stuff, but we never had, no, seriously, we never.
Well, in his time.
Remember, I was.
Oh, okay.
I left in 2009.
No,
Okay, so
there was.
yeah, that was a different time. So yeah, but I don't know about 5 years ago. But again, the issue of the P cards is that if it's a way for you to not be minusculing, controlling what we're doing, or telling us what to do, then okay, it's a good but abide by the policy. We have a policy. Somebody needs to administrate it. And I don't care if it's any one of them telling me, hey, you're violating the policy. Let your colleagues know. You want more? Then let's go to your people and ask them for more. And again, but somebody has to tell them that they're overspending, that they're doing something wrong. And we know if we're doing something wrong and generating all these dollars. That's just what I'm saying.
So what I will tell you, as the P cards are used, that P cards get monitored by the finance department. So it's not you just spend, because you have to spend. If you spend, you have to turn in your receipt. It gets reconciled to where that charge actually goes to. So someone could use their P card and, and maybe they're using it for travel. Maybe they booked okay, that goes to their travel account. Somebody may use a P card for something else, like maybe food, like you say, food. Well, that gets routed to, okay, that's food in this division. So it all goes, and it goes against the policy. And the finance department does review those purchases, and procurement does review those purchases. So that stuff, I mean, as to date, since I've been here, it hasn't been. And I did check with the finance department today as well as procurement, and there's been nothing sketchy about what's been done so far.
I'm not saying sketchy, okay? I'm saying that there's an abuse of the cards. And there's if you get the reports, and all I did was ask the clerk
Commissioner, yeah, I don't mean to interrupt you, but out of respect, let the record show that Commissioner Smith has joined the workshop.
Sorry, I'm late.
Okay, so again, I asked the clerk for a year back or a year and a half back, and that's where the numbers are coming from, not from pulling it out of the air. And the numbers are scary. They're really scary on what numbers, and for a council person to have $13,000 and $15,000 and one other council person have zero, not use it at all. There's something wrong with what's going on. And if you're telling me finance is the one who's in charge of it, then they're not doing their job.
So what I will say, if you look at for the P card, say example, everybody has $7,000 contingency money. So someone might spend their whole $7,000 on their P card for their contingency money by giving donations or whatever. Or say if they did 5, so you have 5 there. The travel budgets, I believe, are about $7,000 or whatever your travel budget. So if you spend and you do your traveling and you spend your $7,000, now you're up to 12. So it can very well add up on just dependent upon those expenditures a particular commissioner made on the P card. So it's not, they spent $12,000 on, knickknacks. It could be some travel, some discretionary money that they have. It could be different things that it's allotted for. So I understand what you're saying, but that's my rhyme and reason into how it could get up to $10,000, $12,000.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is that we need better control of the P cards. And me as commissioner now, I don't get to decide that I want to go to 12 conferences, one each month, or anything like that. I should have a budget, like you said, of I can spend X amount on conferences and for so on. And if I go over that allotment, then I got to get approval by you or the mayor or whoever. But we got to have some way of monitoring it. And I, as the commissioner, got to take the penalty that you tell me if I'm not, adhering. And that's why it's brought up.
I definitely understand, sir. One thing I will say, when coming in and reviewing the P cards, I think there were 50. There were about, we had as the employees, it was about 138 P cards, and we got it down to 88. We eliminated 50 P cards from administration, from staffing, since I've been here, to cut it down.
And how come?
Just to make everybody more accountable. That's it. Right. I mean, to make departments more accountable, that it's, okay, if something was bought on a P card, it's only a few people that have them, not so many.
Right. And again, I understand why you need one. I understand why the chief needs one. I understand, the use of them, but they've got to be monitored.
Well, first, thank you, everybody. I have 2 very important meetings, and everybody at the other meeting was yelling, this one's more important, which it obviously is, so I flew over here. Just catch me up if you can real quick. Sergeant of Arms, is that eliminated now?
Let's finish this first.
No, just a second. I just want to catch myself up with that.
Okay, so I gave an opinion for you based on our prior conversations while we were campaigning, the three of us said to eliminate Sergeant of Arms. I told him to speak to you, but that I was confident that you would want to get rid of it as well.
Well, I'm going to get back to what I just want to catch up, and then we'll get back to the policies too. And so, because there's a few things I wanted to say, I was going to try to talk to you personally about it, but I'm glad that I ran over, because when you're bringing up the P cards, this is the two things I am very curious to find out an answer. How can government money on a P card be given to a certain entity? Anything that could have controversy for the public. In other words, give to a synagogue or give to I'm not understanding how the P cards could be used, government tax dollars, in that aspect. So that is a big answer I'd like to have first. Because I remember, I'm going to interrupt you, I'm sorry, Mr. Manager, forgive me, but there was something with France Pierre that he had given money to his church. Now, I'm not remembering the details, but it was not accepted. And so how are we, as a government, taking P cards and giving money to an organization, whatever the organization would be?
I'm not, well, if you're saying it, I'm sure somebody's done it. So,
Two
okay. I'm calling the procurement director down to see how does that happen. So he'll be down in a second
Okay.
to answer it.
So then maybe some of my other questions are that. Now, because when the procurement comes, procurement is when I looked at the P cards, and I didn't get to see all of it yet, but what I saw is, let's say a commissioner would take his P cards and spend $680 at Dollar Tree. So you could say, okay, well, they've got an event. But why would they be ordering for an event? We have 12 people upstairs that are assistants, that have assistants, why would any commissioner be ordering themselves? We have a procurement department. I don't understand how that can be where they can go to Costco and spend $2,000 when that's what I thought in my day, that's what the staff did. You either sent them an email or a text, or you saw them in person and you say, I need, and they would send you back to approve, and then they took care of it. Instead of it being 20 people that could do that, which could lead to that one ordering it and me ordering it, and then we both did the duplicate work. So that's another question about the P cards.
And some of those occasions, I know that some commissioners do go, and they might go with the staff people to go place the order and use their P card. So that could have happened also. It could be, at the last minute, I'm going to go get some more supplies for, whatever we're passing out as far as hurricane supplies. If we have an event, they run to Costco with the staff to get some drinks or something, and maybe some food, hot dogs, hamburgers, stuff like that does happen on occasions. But it's still, the receipts do come in and the description of what it was for.
And then, Commissioner Smith, excuse me, I just need to say something to Commissioner Chernoff. Procurement administers the P cards, not finance. And we can't do a donation on a P card.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
Cannot.
There's a whole bunch, there's 14 pages of rules.
You can't,
Cannot do a donation on a P card.
and it's been done already.
Okay, well, those donations were done. I wish I would have brought them with me. We don't have them here, that I could tell you the date and who did it. Here's the thing, it's abuse, okay? So one thing is to abuse that you go buy gas in your car because you forgot your wallet. Another thing is to use taxpayers' dollars to give to a charity that the taxpayer may object. So that almost becomes taking the taxpayers' money. And I don't think any commissioner needs a P card. I was here 13 and a half years. I didn't even know what a P card was. It's a purchase card, so they don't say credit card, but it's a credit card. Where I would like the receipts of every one of those charges, because I want to see really what did they spend the money on.
Yeah, itemized. We wanna
Itemized for
see, yeah.
sure. And here's the big thing. Hopefully, everybody that runs for office and gets elected are very honorable and honest people. I'm not saying they're not. But I'm saying that when you get backed into a corner and you have it so readily, would that make you do something that really is like, I don't even know that it's on the line, it might be over the line, but there's no reason for a charge card for us because we have staff. So you say to your staff, I need to go to Washington, D.C., and the staff gets the airplane, the staff gets the hotel, the staff gets the transportation from the airplane to the hotel. I saw in there where people were renting cars when they went to an event. Well, what are they doing with the car? You're going to go to a seminar, you stay in the hotel, you go to the classes, and if you needed to go someplace because they told you how that particular building changed in the CRA and you want to see it for yourself, you get an Uber. And the reason I'm bringing this out to you is it's so egregious. The cards were so egregious. In my day, it would have been maybe a 20th of what was spent. So now you say, but it's not your day. But I definitely feel, and I can't speak for anybody else, corrections need to be made to stop it and stop the bleeding from the residents. That's whose money you're taking. And again, I go back to this thing I said at the commission meeting is, and I won't keep talking, but we could take that money and make better parks. We could take that money and fill potholes. We could take that money and expand services for the elderly or for the children or for people that are abused. So I found those P cards to be very abusive. The year before, in 2020, 12,000. In 2021, 12,000. In 2022, 29,000. Same person. What made that job so much greater that they needed to spend 2/3 more? What happened? We were coming out of COVID.
And to add to that, when we travel, we get a stipend. We get a stipend. We get a check for meals. So we shouldn't, like you said, the only reason we didn't have these P cards before. We didn't have them, and when we had them, we just used them at the beginning when we traveled. When we had to go to Tallahassee or that's how we
needed it to check into the hotel.
Check in.
Into the hotel, and we had to actually procurement had to
lift the restrictions.
Yeah,
there was a limit of, I think it was $1,000.
Travel was restricted all.
Well, the card was locked. They don't open it. They don't.
Right. I think I couldn't even use my card if I wanted to prior to that because it was only allowed for travel.
Correct.
Yeah.
I just want to get back to that because when I traveled, you got a photocopy, you had a file that said this is when your airplane lands, this is the hotel you're staying at, here's your address, and here's a copy of the credit card for the city on a sheet of paper like this, and that was it. And you checked in, it was already taken care of. They didn't need to see my card because staff took care of it. So this is my question. What is staff doing? That's my question, because that's what staff should be doing. They should be purchasing, they should be coordinating events, they should be setting up any travel. So if the commissioner's doing that, what That's on here, so I will go to that later.
And if
I'm trying to catch up, so if I.
and if I can just interrupt, for example,
being
when
late.
we go to the monthly Miami-Dade County League of Dinners, like now, we give the credit card, but before, I think the city paid for it and then deducted it out of our contingency. Am I right? Mm-hmm. So now we're actually using our credit cards to pay for those dinners, when before it was billed to the city and then deducted from our.
Well, I think senior staff needs credit cards, and I think department heads need credit cards. But I think before they spend, unless it's an emergency, there should be a check, there should be a balance, and it has nothing to do with trusting anybody. It has to do with what's happened the last 2 years. So we have to put something the opposite way in place, that it's a strict paying attention to what those P cards are spent for and who's spending them and where's the receipts. Because really and truly, Mr. Manager, take a time, get yourself a cold iced tea or a beer, however you relax, and look at those P cards all together like I've been doing, and you yourself will be shocked. It was egregious spending of taxpayers' dollars. It could have been cut down 4/5, and we would have still had the beautiful city we have. And I just, I don't know when we're going to be back together to really make it a definitive in law that you can't and you cannot, but I just think the direction should be right now to stop all spending, unless it's an emergency, until we have somebody come in here and find out where the money is and where the spending's going. I think we need to stop the spending. We're going to be in trouble. The city's going to be in trouble, and it's not going to take very long. So I think that's the best thing we can do. Pull P cards this week. No more P cards for anybody. And, of course, department heads. And, of course, departments that might be public works. All of a sudden they're working on something and they see they need more cement and they've got to run to Ace Hardware or whatever. But there has to be a check and there has to be a real crunch on this spending.
I know you said the spending. Right now, I mean, even looking at last year's, I think we're anticipated to be like 3.7 million under budget. When you're saying the money's going out, which money are you referring? Are you just talking about the mayor and commission, what they're spending on their P cards?
I'm talking about senior staff, mayor and commission. 3.7 under budget does not necessarily mean that we didn't throw away unnecessary money. Maybe it could have been 4.7 million under budget.
Okay.
So just because money might be there doesn't mean that we give it to some entity, any entity, that is, who has that right? At the end of the year, if you still had money in your account, you could donate it to something. You could. But the something wasn't something that was tied into a church, a temple. Where did we come to do that and to support that? We do support many, many, many benefits to the people. We buy the tables. We attend their functions. But to give them taxpayer dollars, and without anybody deciding it's okay, I don't believe we ever had that. I don't think we ever had where you could just say, this is who I like, I'm going to give them $2,000 out of my money. Because it's not your money. The taxpayers' money.
And if I may ask the attorney a question, or maybe it's the procurement director, I'm not sure who would know the answer to this, but there were some P cards payments made to the DNC and to Lawyers Association, and are we allowed to do that on a P card? DNC meaning Democratic National
What?
Club?
Convention?
Convention, I'm not sure. DNC. and also to a lawyers committee, and also to a lawyers association. Is that allowed on a P card?
Commissioner Smuggler, I would probably need some more information. What was the context of the expenditure? I don't get an opportunity to review those expenditure, but I would ask procurement, after the meeting to give me more information to get the context.
Well, I mean, to the DNC, like,
I don't know, for example, if it's a event that this entity is having, joint event. I don't know if it's a fundraising event or a donation.
well, I'm saying we shouldn't be making donations to the Democratic National or the Republicans. We shouldn't be making.
What I'm indicating to you, I don't know the context.
Or even if there's an event, why are we paying it out of a P card to a Republican or a Democrat? I don't care who.
I understand what you're saying. There's 14 pages here that defines what you can do and what you can't do, and it's pretty specific. It's pretty specific in the policies and procedures on what these cards should be used for and how they should be used.
So-
It's not being followed. That's the problem.
Mr. Attorney, I have a question for you. Because if we find, which I'm hoping when we get together we will have an investigation, that there was money abused, is there a way to get it reimbursed back to the city?
I'm going to go off to the policy. Obviously, will govern how this expenditure has taken place. And if the policy have that language in, obviously you can, for reimbursement for money that's not spent within the policy guidelines. But I haven't read that policy. So the issue, obviously the policy will control whatever actions that the city takes relating to the P card.
Okay, so there could be, though, action. Is a possibility?
All I'm telling Commissioner Smith, I will review the policy and I can give you a clearer answer to your question.
Well, one of the questions, and somebody told it to me, so I'm only hearing it, I don't know if it's true, that $9,000 was spent on a legal association for a lifetime membership by one of the commissioners.
$9,000?
$9,000 for a lifetime membership of a commissioner that only serves for 4 years. That's the kind of abuse I'm talking about.
What I will do is get together with procurement and we will review some of the concerns you raise and make sure everything is consistent with the policy.
So, Mr. Mayor, may I ask for a date certain of that review? May I ask that we have that review back within the next 10 days? Could we have that, please?
I don't have a problem, Mr. Procurement.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And then I would like you, if you don't mind, to report to us your findings of who we can recap some of the money where, just as small as, for instance, you got a stipends for while you were gone for your meals, and yet you charged meals. So that would mean you would owe the city back the money.
Again, Commissioner Smith, the policy will guide it. And the clearer the policy, obviously from a standpoint of legal, we'll obviously give you the opinion.
I'd like a copy that nobody ever gave me a copy that. I'd like a copy.
Can you make sure I get a copy also?
Absolutely. Commissioner Smith, if I may, for a point of clarification, how far back you want us to go in the review?
I would like you to go back a minimum of 2 years.
Okay.
And you might go back a third year to show us the difference. We also had COVID. So I really want to go back and see. The biggest thing is nobody's out to get you. What we're out to do is to see if there was abuse of the taxpayers' money. And if there was abuse of it, how much can we recap? And can we stop it tonight?
And Mr. Attorney, and even if it's not on the policy, again, I would have to look at it. The last time I looked at it was 4 years ago when I became a commissioner.
Oh, thank you.
But even if it's not on the policy, should a city be giving money to a political committee, like a Democrat or Republican? I mean, I don't think it's
not proper for me to opine. That's really obviously the commission.
I mean, shouldn't cities not be involved in
And as I indicated to you, the law is pretty clear when it comes to church and state. Yeah, so generally, from my experience, the law is with respect to church and state, is pretty clear. That's an issue that sometimes I'm able to see clearly when expenditure, you cannot advance any religion with taxpayer dollars. But with respect to entity having a event, obviously I have to have context to give a proper opinion. Without the context.
Right, but we shouldn't be having an event for either political party.
And if that's the case, I would strongly urge this commission to clearly modify the policy and say, we don't want money. We don't care if it's a banquet. We don't care if it's a event where the general public, we don't want taxpayer dollar from this city to be spent to any political entity. Just clarify the policy.
Okay, so
I give
I don't
you
want any money of this city to be spent on political parties.
Yeah.
Okay,
That would be best practices anyways, though.
But if it was spent,
Wait, just for an example to you all. Eating, prohibited uses of the P card include the following transactions. Eating establishments / restaurants permitted with prior written approval of the city manager. This is in the policy.
so is there copies of your written approval when they went to the restaurants?
I'm not sure of. If they did go to a restaurant and use their P card, I gave no written. I approved the travel vouchers. That's all I approve.
So that's why we have to really, city attorney, find out who owes us what. Because you get a credit card, it wasn't a credit card to do whatever you please. Somebody just gave you a open-ended gift. I want to just say something, Commissioner Smuckler, about that. If somebody did a political and it is against the regulations of Dade County or the state of Florida, that person might owe us back the money as well.
Again, I would review, obviously, state law, or even Miami-Dade County Code if it applies to this city. If it's a violation, I will obviously tell the commission, and I review.
Okay, so do the employees also sign this?
Everybody who gets a P card is supposed to sign this.
Absolutely. Yes,
Okay, so
sir.
There's
then,
a sheet.
so, and there were employees that were buying meals at restaurants as well.
Okay?
So they shouldn't be doing that as well. It's not just for the commission.
That would need to be reimbursed.
Right, so it's not just the
Under
commissioners, it's employees too.
Under the policy.
No, that was the abuse I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
So that's the abuse. Okay. Obviously, we could beat this to a dead horse, but
Hold on there. Maybe there's something Ms. Kamara wants to add to the conversation.
No, we're good. We're all right.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're fine.
because
Excuse me.
here's the problem that I have. We're a very poor city. We're not a rich city. And our residents need all the help they can get, and they need all of the activities that can make their life more satisfying. And it can't go for somebody's personal desire or foolishness. It has to go to these people that really and truly were they can't afford to pay for their food and their electricity. Well, then we have to help them with one or the other, and we can't say we don't have any money because we went out to lunch. That's the part that I'm getting at.
And Mr. Manager, I want to make sure it's clear. I want you to start with this dais and everybody up here who has one. Start with us. We answer too. Start with us.
I never got a P card. I don't
neither,
have
but-
a P card. And as I explained to them, I don't want a P card. If I need to do something for the city, we have people on the 4th floor that should be taking care of that for us, whatever it is. If you go to lunch with somebody first place, I do that often. I've done it a lot the last couple months. I pay myself and I don't need reimbursement, thank God. But if you go and take somebody lunch, you could pay and then turn in the receipt. You can pay and turn in the receipt and write on this receipt why you need to be reimbursed. To have it in your pocket to do as you please with no, so I concur with my commissioner. I would like the P cards to be evaluated, who has one, who doesn't. I would like you, sir, to be kind enough to check and make sure everybody did sign it. And I'd like anybody that has a P card right now, the spending is stopped until we get a hold of where the money is. Unless it's an emergency, which as long as you put into place some kind of checkpoint, then I don't mind.
There are occasions, because you're talking about public works guys having P cards.
Right.
You know, something happens, they go to Home Depot, buy it.
Right.
Parks and Recreation, same thing. So that is an integral part of what happens here.
That's correct.
So,
But they would have a checkmate somebody else in their department with something that said the necessity of it, so that it wouldn't be one person going. Even though we know it's a necessity, they need more cement. We know it, the hole's open, so it's obvious. But if you do it for one, you do it for all, and then that way we have some kind of checkpoint on it for today, until we can really study this with the attorney, with somebody coming in and looking at our books, which, you know, I don't know when we're having a meeting again, but the spending has to stop now. And accountability.
The food spending is out of.
Right. I mean, I agree with you, but we have to be a little bit careful about who we take cards away, who we tell to stop spending, because we have a police department also
Right.
that they need to buy.
That's why I said police department, of course, may even be procurement. But the manager will have somebody check some in that department. If the police chief needs to use her P card, she'll just have somebody else, whether it's her assistant chief or somebody else, to verify that that was a necessity then. It won't be, not because it shouldn't be that you should do it yourself, not because the chief shouldn't have that right, but because the abuse was so bad in my eyes, I wanted to be that strict until we get somebody in here to see where the money is. And then we can go from there, until the attorney finds out what needs to be paid back.
One more point. On this form, there is a reason for inactivation/suspension, and it's signed off by department head, procurement manager, and city manager. It has 3 sign-offs on it. So it's the policy is good. We're not adhering to it.
Well, it was good, but in my eyes, I'm only one person that was abused.
Well, so I think the main abusers are some commissioners and some people on the 4th floor. I think those are the senior staff. Those are the main abusers. So what if we we can't hold off the credit cards forever. This is something that needs to be done quickly.
Well, 10 days we'll
Yeah.
have with the procurement and the attorney's permission, in 10 days we'll have some kind of report.
Yes.
And then we can reevaluate how they should be handled at that time.
So is that $1,000 thing gone away, or is that?
No, ma'am, it has not. What happens is that's the initial per spend limit amount, and per month is $5,000. Any request for any additional expenditure per transaction or an increase in the monthly expenditure is, it either comes to me or through the city manager's office. We review each case on a case-by-case basis and then grant those requests based upon what they're trying to purchase.
Okay. So just a question, and if it's a no, it's a no, and I'll deal with it. So I have a farm share coming up in a week and a half, and I always get coffee and donuts for the volunteers, and I use coupons, by the way, and I go out of my way to further places that I have coupons for. So in the meantime, what do I do from now on? Do I buy it out of my personal credit card and then ask for reimbursement?
That's the way.
Okay, which is fine, I'm okay with that, but the other problem is that using my credit card, I pay sales tax. While you're using the city's credit card, you're not paying sales tax, so now we're making the city pay that sales tax.
Mr. Procurement?
Yes.
In the old days, we used to have a card with all of your numbers on it, and it had this tax exempt number on it.
Well, the credit card has it now.
Yeah.
No, I understand, but if you use your own, you can give the tax exempt.
Number.
If you're using it for city.
That's correct.
I can't speak for all establishments, but some establishment will allow you to bring in the certificate of exemption
Right.
as proof.
Right.
Or you could text it or email it to them.
And $5,000 a person
Per
per
month.
month?
That is the standard threshold according to the policy, ma'am.
And that included a commissioner?
There are exceptions. We do get requests for an increase in the expenditure.
An increase from 5,000 up?
There are exceptions, yes, ma'am.
Who did we make that exception?
Let's not change it until we go to Europe. I'm just saying. Above 5,000 for a commissioner to do what? Give me an example.
This is the policy. I can't give you an example of what someone is spending their budget on. So.
But you understand,
I do understand.
that's $60,000 a year.
Well, the spending limit doesn't say that they are going to expend that amount. It's just the protocols that we have in place because we have to inform Bank of America of what the requirements are per card. When a card is issued, those restrictions are placed on that card, those spending restrictions.
So that if Bank America will know if you go over your limit.
You can't.
Right.
You can't go over your limit.
So under your department, you have never had that happen here in the city of North Miami Beach while you've been here in your tenure?
When you say that happened, you mean someone's card has been declined?
No, that somebody's card has been used over $5,000
It cannot be used above what we set the
without asking.
without asking.
Okay, has that been done?
We have a request, yes.
So that
Individuals have.
from the commission?
From the commissioner, I'm not certain. I think when I came here last year, the commissioners were here in place and their card had already been established. So from my recollection, I can't say that a current sitting commissioner or former commissioner since I've been here has made that request.
I think a lot of times and where this comes into play will be public works employees. So if a public works employee has a $2,500 limit on their card and AC goes down or one of the water pipes or something, they have to go make the purchases. Now they're calling back, hey, I need you to up my limit because the cost is going to be more than what I can purchase with. So that does happen on occasions, and they have to call in and then they have to change it. So, things like that do come up. If we need emergency air conditioner repair or something, stuff like that comes up. Yeah.
Well, let me not beat around the bush. I'm going to give you an example. Because you know what? It just seems that we just go in circles, but we never get down to the grain. We had a former commissioner that was sitting up here, went to Las Vegas and spent over $5,000. Now, did she charge it on her personal credit card or did she charge it on the P card? Because nobody here has stayed at the Bellagio and been toured around and been taxied around and all this food and with an assistant. So I'm not going to prance around and dance around. I'm going to get to the point. We have a commissioner that sat up here, went to Las Vegas, spent over $5,000. We know it good and well. Let's get down to the truth and stop beating around the bush.
So
That's what the taxpayers that are sitting here want to know. What happened? What happened? How did that card get out of control? How did this commissioner spend that kind of money, staying at the Bellagio, taking tours and traveling around Las Vegas and paying for all these lavish meals and having an assistant next to her? Okay? This is what nobody wants to put the light on. okay? This is what everybody's trying to deter, that nobody dig in and nobody see what was done here, okay? But you know what? If people want to go ahead and put a target on my back, then I'm going to go ahead and show everybody what's really happening here in the city, because I'm tired of it. And everybody here and those residents that are sitting here are tired of it.
Let me ask you, Mr. Mayor, doesn't that have to be approved?
Going back to the card preset limits, right, within Bank of America. Once those preset limits are established, then the individual can use their card for travel purposes, checking in hotels, things of that nature. So from a procurement standpoint, it is an action that we take when the card is issued based upon either the form that's submitted initially or a request soon thereafter.
But here's my question with that. First place, Mr. Manager, somebody has to say no. Somebody has to say no. Okay, I was told no in 13 and a half years, plenty of time. And the biggest thing was, Commissioner, you don't want to see yourself as a headline. And the way the city is operating now, we're a headline every day. So why? Because somebody doesn't say no. But my question to you is, okay, they went to the Bellagio. Everybody knows that. The commissioner's not here. The next month they could go to the Haiti and take a police officer because they spent that $5,000 that month. Am I understanding that correctly?
Ma'am, every employee, individual's card is not the same preset limit. So what happens is every month we pay Bank of America, whatever the statement is, that resets an individual's spending limit for the forthcoming month.
Now, you know what I'm hearing, and I'm saying it with all respect to you. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing that Bank of America controlled our cities.
Oh, absolutely not. No, ma'am.
Oh, no, that's what I'm hearing. Because if they spent the $5,000 this month, nobody was looking that they could spend the $5,000 again next month because they had a zero balance because the city paid it off. Nobody looked. Nobody looked to say, you just spent $5,000. What do you need an assistant for over there? What's the assistant doing? So that's what I'm trying to say to you. Bank of America is who we have to go after. So the way you're explaining it is, it was 100% controlled by spend the money this month, no problem. I'm going to get to spend the money again next month. No problem.
I have a question. It's a stupid question. I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyways. Especially for the commissioners, because sometimes I don't want to get into it with the fourth floor, because sometimes they do have to purchase food for, like today, food was purchased. But the seven of us, none of us need to ever purchase food. And like I was buying coffee and donuts for the volunteers, I can do that on my credit card. No big deal, it's $40. But, so, and whenever we travel, we get a stipend, so we shouldn't be putting a credit card out. Can there be a hold on food on our credit card? That it can only be used for just a hotel and a car, airline type of situation?
Yes, ma'am. The way the P card.
He just read it. He just said you can't use the restaurant.
I mean, but it's until.
But what we can do is we need to make sure that our manager and manager's office tighten the screw on that and make sure that they do.
Okay, but can we put a hold on certain credit cards that it cannot be used at establishments that include food?
So the way the P card program is structured, a merchant has a code that the credit card user identifies them as. Mm-hmm. We can put a block on certain merchants to say that you can't go into, for instance, a car dealership, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not certain right now if we can put a block on a merchant and then have certain cars blocked in certain cars that are not blocked for that particular type of merchant. But I will contact Bank of America. and-
Thank you. And then the other question is, so the commissioner that spent money at the Bellagio and in Haiti, so all those, that was all lifted, that $1,000?
Of course, it had to be, because the transactions would not have been approved
Okay.
if they were greater than her per transaction limit.
And who requested that to be?
I would have to go back and get the documentation to see when and how and by whom that particular card was set at a different level.
Right.
When was there a $1,000 limit?
I remember being told it was 1,000.
That's what it's.
That's within the policy, ma'am. When the card is issued, the standard per transaction limit is $1,000, unless otherwise requested.
So somebody had to approve $5,000 for Las Vegas.
At some point in time, obviously, if the card worked,
So somebody had to approve it.
the per transaction limit was lifted greater than the $1,000.
But could the person do it themselves?
Oh, absolutely not.
So what happened, manager?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, as the same exact thing that the procurement director said, the card was issued prior to, so I don't.
Mr. Mayor.
Just keep going.
We're going around and
It's
around.
lifted.
No,
It's
hold on.
It's lifted per occasion, not forever.
Okay. The issue is it's not being administered properly. We need to administer it properly. Get everybody a copy of this, everybody who has a P card, have them reinstitute the signature by the 3 department heads and get it signed that they're going to be responsible, and stop it right now from everybody.
Just say no. And no.
And except for you, certain ones that need it for their job. But for 7 of us, we don't need it right now.
No peak.
So get us to sign this and get everybody to sign it and let everybody know who has it. There is going to be a new sheriff in town taking over this policy and adhering to what is in these 14 pages. And if you want a P card, you better read it because you're signing to accept it. And boom. And it has revocation, it has everything in here.
I think that, with all respect, Commissioner Chernoff, besides the 7 of us, some of the upper staff, too many have a P card. You can certainly delegate 1 or 2 people that when you need extra help because you can't do it yourself, of course they'll do it. But for everybody on that 4th floor to have this P card so that, it doesn't work more than money. It's more than money. This one's leaving their desk to go get lunch. This one's leaving their desk to go pick up supplies. No, we have people that are in charge of supplies. We have people that are in charge of whatever else needs to be done, travel, and that's the person that takes care of travel. We don't have 6 people that you don't know, because look what happened with the parade. I didn't have an opportunity to go, but there was no float. So who was in charge and what happened? We need to cut down so you can have a better grasp yourself. So you know who did it, why did they do it, and does it need to be corrected? And it needs to be tonight, starting tonight.
And I have a question about the $1,000, the restriction. When that's lifted, is there a maximum time that it's lifted for?
It depends on the specific requests. We have departments that have specific requirements and need to buy things at a specific time. And so they will come and they will request their card be lifted based upon something that they are buying at that time. So there's no standard of we increase by 5,000, we increase by 10,000. It's just based upon these specifics.
Right.
Any other questions on the P card?
Okay, so Mr. Manager, did you have a question?
No, I understand.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Could we just go back for 1 second to Sergeant Barnes? Go ahead. I just want to apologize to the police department. I do want to apologize. I hoped that it was given direction, no more Sergeant of Arms. But I certainly, when I hear them come up before us and say how the neighborhood needs more police officers, to have one of our police officers sit there for a couple hours instead of taking an Uber and then go to the next event and sit there instead of them getting a ride from family or friends.
Freebie.
Freebie doesn't go out in North Miami Beach, but I can only say I apologize to my residents and I apologize to the police department. You hear over and over how we're short. And the last thing we needed to do is have one of our police officers. We are a poor city. What happened that you need a ride from somebody that should be really protecting the public? So I wanted to make sure I got that in if I had an opportunity to come. And then if somebody just tell me what happened with procedures. I did hear you say that everybody knew what boards they're on. I really did not. I saw one sheet that said the 4 things, but I didn't even get clarity was economic development, my CRA that I had before, and I had no idea.
Talk to your mayor.
Okay, so I had no idea about.
What I said, that you were the liaison to the seniors, but there was a senior event today and you were not part of it.
I wasn't informed for sure
You
until.
weren't listed, that was the point.
But
Yes, that you weren't listed.
and then did you come to something about the names and the pictures? Because I am 100% that whatever we do in this city is done by all of us.
No pictures.
It's taxpayers' dollars. It's taxpayers' money.
And like, if there's a senior event, it would be the City of North Miami Beach, mayor and commission, and Phyllis Smith, liaison to the senior board.
Liaison is the word.
Yeah.
Not in charge, not whatever.
Right.
And as far as the handouts, are we going to limit how many and where they go, and so it doesn't get as close to an election where there's 10 of each event? Are we going to, where, like in the lobby, where one commissioner had 10 different copies with their picture? So if we eliminate the pictures, are we still going to try to eliminate, at least monitor how many flyers?
That will be up to us.
Okay.
Okay, so you reminded me of something that's part of this. I apologize for not talking about it before. So let's just say that I decide that I want to do an event. And can I do it, or do I need to get permission from the manager? Do I need to get permission from the commission? And I'm just using myself as an example. I don't.
Manager?
How does that work? If I decide that I want to do, it's National Green Day and I want to do a green event. I don't know. I'm making this up. And do I go to you and say, oh, Mr. Manager, find me $10,000 because I want to do a party dressed in green for everybody? Or do I need to come to the commission and say, I want to do an event and do I have permission to take $10,000 out of the budget and spend it on my event? How is this, what was done in the past and what do we want to do in the future?
In the past, we had a discussion right before every council meeting on the 4th floor. We had a discussion, and that's where something like this would have been brought up. You would have said, hey, I got a great idea. I want to do Green Day, and it's going to cost us $10,000. Let's discuss it. And then we would discuss it, all 7 of us, and say, oh, this is a great thing. Mr. Manager, would you please look into this thing that we want to do? Is it feasible? Can we do it? Do we have the resources? Blah, blah, blah. That's how it would work.
Okay, so if it's not in the budget, then we need to discuss.
Well, he's talking about, which we've all said, that if we have a workshop before either every other week or whatever, but at the workshop, you bring up what's on the agenda and what questions or what ideas you might have. And also, one of the ideas, you want to have an event. And that would be discussed amongst us.
Okay, so if it's not in the budget, can the manager at his discretion say yes to that commissioner?
No.
Yes?
No, we're going to have the workshop and everybody's going to discuss it.
No, if the seven of us say we want to have this event,
No.
Oh, no,
If I
she's
go-
asking
I'm just saying, I'm saying, manager, in 2 weeks, I want to do Green Day.
This is the way it's happened. They've gone,
Right, so do I go to the manager and say, in 2 weeks, I need you to find me $10,000 in the budget, I want to do Green Day event? Do I do that, or do I sit and wait till the next commission meeting and discuss it?
Workshop. I believe that you should wait for the workshop, and the reason I say that because it does take time to plan event, number one, but number two is that maybe there's too many events at the same time that it's Green Day. Or maybe that we have a similar event and we discuss it and you say, you're right, maybe we could blend it. But if you go directly to the manager may say, sure, we're happy to do that event for you. And we don't want to happen what happened.
Right, but the problem is if I, what if all seven of us come to the manager, and if I go to him and ask him for $10,000, then the mayor's going to go to him and ask him for 10, and then Commissioner Smith so either we don't all go to him or we discuss it on the dais, but we can't be going to him every time and asking him.
That's what I'm saying. We discussed on the dais.
Oh, I thought you said to go.
Not the dais, the workshop. No, you said go to him. I said no.
I'm asking. I'm not
the
even
workshop.
asking for me. I'm asking because this is something we need to clarify.
Well, we definitely need to clarify before election time.
Right.
Where everybody, that's why I don't want it to be in my seat where you go to the manager and because it puts the manager in a very difficult position.
Right. Absolutely.
You don't want to say no, and yet you can't say yes and appease everybody else. It has to be in a workshop we discuss.
we have to have an agreement up here first.
Okay, so if it's not in the budget, then we need to discuss it.
Sure.
Any events that are not in the budget, we need to discuss it as a commission and decide on whether we should do it.
One thing, a lot of our events are sponsored. So I know people go out and raise money. I know you've raised money for some of your events. So where does that stand? If somebody goes out and raises the money for their event?
I think we can consider it. I mean, all things be considered, be discussed,
bring it to us for consideration.
and make a decision as a group. That's what we're here for. If somebody wants to sponsor it, great. Bring them forward.
I mean, but we're still paying Parks and Rec, we're still paying police, we're still
There's
paying
money,
staff.
there's costs of every event,
Right.
of course.
That's
Right.
I think the workshops are going to work out, Mr. Manager, so much better for smooth sailing with commission meetings and with the just everyday running of the city.
And I just want to, since we're talking about sponsorships, I'm really happy to announce that I've gotten $15,000 extra in sponsorships for the Heart Health Walk.
Excellent.
Good.
Nice job.
So, and I have to thank Nicholas for that, but, so.
And I will tell you that when you see what's happening on TV, this one dying and that one dying very young of the heart,
Yes.
it's
yes,
an imperative that we continue with that wonderful event.
Yes.
All right,
Mayor, before we move on, is this workshop, are we suggested it take place on the days of commission meeting, before the commission meeting?
You know, I do remember that, Commissioner Chernoff, but I think we're better off until we catch up. Until we catch up, at least, to have a separate.
All right, well, let's say the commission meeting is on Tuesday. I would like the workshop on the Thursday before the Tuesday.
Correct.
When the agenda is already out, we can discuss things on the agenda, and then it stops so much discussion up here on the night that brings us till 12 o'clock at night.
I think that that's very strong way to run a good government. And I've seen it in other cities that are the ones that are next to us. And if you have your staff there that Thursday, also, department heads.
Yeah.
We have it. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I apologize for changing the subject. Do you have a P card for the city?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Go ahead.
With the workshop that's going to be done the Thursday before the actual commission meeting, I'm going to need to publish it, so I would need to know what items that you're going to have on there.
Yeah,
We're going to review the agenda for the following Tuesday.
so wait, the next commission.
So it's always going to be to review the agenda?
Well, that, and if they want to add something else.
Except,
And events?
except zoning, quasi judicial.
Right.
Judicial issue.
Just want to.
Right, that's correct.
So it's not to review events?
Well, it would be that needs to be a discussion item of possible events, and just put that on there, so.
So just
And
to
bring
be
them
clear,
up.
so do we want this to be a review of events, or do we want this to be an agenda review in full? That's just to be clear.
Okay,
so we don't
okay,
move in the
clear.
right direction.
It's whatever the mayor and council want it to be,
Yeah, but
that we're allowed, just like this, as a workshop.
post it.
No, I understand. We would have if, let's say we wanted to talk about the P cards, we would know it in advance and we would give it to Andres to get it out there. Okay? I'm saying it could be anything we want, but it's our place to discuss with each other because we can't talk with each other about something that's coming up that could be answered prior to a council meeting or in the future, or something like you want to do an event. Well, you would bring it up then. We want to do an event.
Okay, so it's to review the agenda, and then if a commissioner wants to add an event, they let you know, and we,
Or a commissioner wants to add anything to discuss with his
A discussion
six other
item.
colleagues.
But Madam Clerk, I would like it to always be review the agenda, and then the city manager, I'd like you to have the department heads there that apply to that commission meeting. And then if we want to, maybe Tuesday prior to Thursday, if you want to add a discussion item, she would have to know. How much in advance do you have to publish that?
Not just that, I have to notice it too, because this is not a regular meeting, so I'm going to
the
have.
workshop.
Yes.
So how much?
So this is going to be standing for every Thursday, every month?
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to have to advertise in the paper.
Right.
So right now, on the agenda, standing for all the Thursdays, we're going to say to review the agenda,
That's correct.
right? No, nothing by events.
The Thursday prior to a meeting.
Okay.
I believe, Madam Clerk, that the state of Florida said that you do not have to use newspapers as of
me?
2023. Is that correct?
We do not have to?
Use newspaper print as of 2020.
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, would you check?
Commissioner Smith, you're correct.
Thank you. So we do not have to use newspapers.
You don't have
You can
to,
use electronic.
Advertise, public meetings in the newspaper,
Yes,
except zoning matters.
except zoning matters.
Okay.
So how much notice do you need if we want to have a discussion item for a Thursday prior to 2 days, a day?
7 a week would be good.
So
Notice.
Forget the newspaper. How much time, let's say on social media, do you have to notice it?
I'm not a social media person.
Well, how much time does it have
As far as the website,
The
you
website.
get a week. That would be good. It'd be fair to give the public a chance. To
What's
know
the
going
minimum
on.
amount?
It's 7 days.
7 days?
Yes.
Okay. So it's always going to be to review the agenda, and if a commissioner wants to add an item for discussion, then we add it.
Noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
If we wish to talk about the item at the meeting, we do, and if we don't, we move on. So we don't belabor when we come up here as a commission, right?
Right.
What time? Sorry.
Oh.
All right, so
what time are we going to have the workshop? I think the earlier the better if we're going to go over the agenda, because that's a good time to really weed out all the questions and hear what other people have as thoughts.
maybe 5, I don't know.
5 to 7,
Well, we can't, we don't have an end time. It ends.
5 o'clock, start at
5 o'clock is fine. Madam Clerk, do you think it would really be pushing you to give us the agenda on Wednesday so we could review it and perhaps prepare some questions for Thursday's meeting?
Which agenda? The workshop or the actual?
The actual agenda. The workshop is going to review.
She's been doing it a week before.
Get it on the Tuesday.
She's doing it on the Tuesday.
Okay.
Emails also sent out letting you know that it's published.
Okay. I've been getting mine on Thursday, so I don't know what happened. No problem. Okay, it's good. It's all good.
All right, item 2.4 is our next item, and that's Commissioner Smith's item.
Well, here's the thing. We're not having government. We're a city that needs the government to guide them and help them, and we're not governing. So is there a consequence that you were elected to come up here and govern? And I think the biggest consequences should be, A, you get no pay. If you do not come to a meeting and you're not sick, or you walk out of a meeting and do not give the clerk the reason for you walking out because you have a conflict of interest, then how are you sitting up here and getting whatever it is a month, $5,000, $6,000, and you're not working? So I think one of the first things should be that if you don't come to a meeting, you don't get paid.
I would go one step further and take away all their financial things, take away their health insurance, hold their health insurance for a month, hold their everything. They want to walk out on a meeting and break a quorum and not let the city do business, let them suffer.
Well, I think that whatever we do, it cannot be worse than what they're doing to the public. That people are paying thousands and 10,000s and maybe hundreds of thousands in mortgage payments on their property, and they're coming the second month and they're not getting business done by North Miami Beach. So whatever we do, it's not nearly as bad as what's being done to the public.
Oh, if I had my druthers, I would make them pay for the attorneys that had to come and the people that they were paying to be in the room to be heard by us that weren't getting heard.
And the police chief, I don't know about your grant, but I do know that grants have times that they are time sensitive. If you don't accept them, you lose them. And we had a vote on that grant for helping crime victims. And I don't know, do you know off the top of your head when that's null and void?
The manager. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, through the manager.
I'm sorry. Through the grant is through till September 30th, 2023. However, since the Department of Justice is behind, they're a little more lenient. They're giving us time to accept the grant, so I think we'll be okay. I don't want to go past the next meeting, so if we can get it approved with the February meeting, that'll.
So it was up in 2022, but because they're behind, we're going to get that.
Yes.
We have that leeway.
Yes. They're behind.
So see, that's imperative to the public. Imperative. You know what? If it's the will of this commission to take away their benefits too, I could see where it would maybe help them come back to work.
I think it would have to be in a vote where we had 5 in order to do that.
No, I'm talking about the direction, though, of us.
Yes, that's the direction, absolutely.
Define take away. What are we taking away? 1 day, 1 month, 1 year?
A month until the next month.
So some of them might be here or working in between or dealing with city issues. So I'm just being fair with everybody. If it's missed a day or if you miss a month, I don't know.
Right now, we're going on 2 months that we couldn't have a council meeting, a commission meeting, excuse me. They're holding up the city for ransom for 2 meetings already. That's since December when I was elected, and Phyllis was the 2 weeks before that. Since we've been elected, we haven't had an official meeting yet that we could vote on. For 2 months, they should be held back their pay. Absolutely. I don't care about a day. No, the 30 days, let it hurt. Let it hurt them.
Okay, but so I just want to a little bit more clarity. For example, if you're ill, you're ill. I did 2 Zoom meetings, twice that I had COVID, so at least I was there on Zoom and it was fine. But I remember I missed 1 meeting when my father-in-law died. There was a commission meeting that night. It was a short one. It was on a Thursday. It was some stuff that needed to be finished up. And I missed another meeting because it was also on a Thursday, and And I was away, and I planned my trip around the commission meeting, but then they added this Thursday meeting. So do I not get paid because my husband was sitting Shiva? Do I not get paid because I had a planned trip? Which is fine. I don't care. I'm using myself as an example. Or do I not get paid when it's evident that I'm being spiteful? Like what's the circumstance? You don't show up, you don't get paid.
When it's clear,
Commissioner, just want to, the compensation and the benefits of each member of the commission is controlled by the city charter. And in order to amend the city charter, you need a vote of the residents. So this issue is a charter issue. Benefits, insurance, compensation, is pretty clear that the charter is the controlling authority on those issues.
You know, I'd like to thank you for clarifying that, so now we know. Okay. But I'd also like to ask you, what are you as the attorney or you as the manager, what are we going to do? Do we have to go to court to get our city functioning again? What are you going to do to help us?
That's a policy direction. Obviously, that needs to be done with a quorum. So I'm just giving you the law as it states today.
No, but you know, because you obviously know, being a man that's been an attorney in cities for years, that we haven't had a quorum. We don't have a quorum, so this business of the city is not being done. So now you're saying that the charter doesn't allow you to give a penalty for that. But if that's the case, then what is our other alternatives to get our city back working?
I mean, it's not just police and safety issue. We have the water plant issues. I mean, the water plant needs, there are a whole bunch of items there for the water plant. I mean, do we want to, when many of us on this dais, not the ones just here, some of the 7 of us fought hard to bring back that water plant. And now we're going to let it go to ruins because we are not voting on issues that involve the water plant.
And we have quasi judicial items that.
Manager is responsible for the day-to-day operation of the city. Under his authority, he has to manage the city to make sure it's functional, police, water, that is providing service. His authority is obviously is broad with respect to make sure the city is running efficiently. And if he needs direction, obviously on matters that he has to confer with the commission, he will talk to each of you guys individually, and I will help him with the legal issue. Okay.
You know, I have to say something here. When I got elected, I had a conversation with you. And my conversation with you was, you were there to protect me. That's what I wanted most from you, was to protect me up here. So guide me if I'm doing wrong and tell me. I got elected, and I can't do what I was elected for. So now I look to you to say, how do we correct that? And you're telling me you can't do anything. You can go and do a lawsuit with the judge and ask the judge to do something to allow us to operate as 4 or do something. We shouldn't have to go to outside counsel who's helping us right now. That shouldn't have to be. My own city attorney should be doing that fight. And I don't understand why you're not.
That's a question?
Yeah.
I believe you're well aware of the legal issue that we are dealing with. I have stated on record, and we're dealing with a legal issue that obviously I believe the mayor had his attorney, and he indicated that he has sued the city. And so the issue on with respect to the residency of the mayor is an issue that was brought to my attention. Legal opinion was issued. That legal opinion is an opinion that I concur with. And so that's the issue that obviously some members of the commission are concerned about.
No. Okay,
If you let me finish.
okay, go ahead.
Appreciate it. So there's a legal issue that obviously has created the situation we're in, and with respect to the day-to-day management, I believe everything from the manager standpoint has been functioning. He hasn't come up to me and say he's not able to function as a manager and ensure that services to the residents are being provided.
Okay. You said you had direction from this council. You didn't have direction from 4 of us, so who did you have direction from? 3 that aren't showing up?
Actually, as per his letter, it was only 2.
Yeah, only 2 people give you direction to go ahead and challenge the mayor. And again, the mayor will, it will be.
Mr. Chairman.
Wait, no, let me speak now.
Thank you.
Okay? The mayor's issue will be resolved. There's attorneys on both sides now, it will be resolved. But I take precedent and take offense that you issue a letter from an attorney directed by 2 people that aren't even showing up to be on the dais. That's ludicrous. You know, how is that happening? And then you tell me when I ask you, okay, what are you doing to make this be able to operate? You're telling me you can't do it.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Attorney?
I just want to make clear that city charter provide the city attorney with authority to issue opinion when asked by any member of this commission. This is not the first time that I have provided a legal opinion to a member of the city commission when it's asked individually. So the authority for me to issue an opinion is within the city charter.
Okay, wait. You're an attorney, correct? Yes, you're an attorney, okay?
I'm a member of the Florida Bar, yes.
You're a member of the Florida Bar. You know, and everybody out there knows, how you determine his residency. Not by a judgment by you, not by a judgment by me, not by a judgment by them. It's determined by the courts. Go to court already. It's black and white whether he lives here or not. Let's get this thing done. It's ridiculous what we're being held to right now at the city, to not be able to operate because one of my colleagues, and I'll even say if he's my colleague anymore, doesn't show up to meetings because he doesn't want to be here with the mayor. He doesn't have that right. The people elected him to be there. He's not there. That's the issue. Well, we've got 3 empty seats right now that haven't been here. The one person walked out when we were ready to vote. You know how bad that is? How disgusting that is? Walked out when we were ready to vote because he didn't like what was being voted. What happened to the last 2 years when our city hasn't been run properly and nobody else walked out on, well, maybe, I won't say nobody walked out. There was walkout, but nobody broke the quorum. There was always a quorum that was left up here. There's not a quorum operating up here right now. And the city can't operate that way. The city is on a bad way right now, and we have to be able to legislate. We're not able to legislate. So everything gets pushed back. That's 2 months already. 2 months already. City can't do that. Something needs to be done, and our city attorney should be at the forefront of trying to make sure that we get back to governing and make it happen.
And watching all of our backs, not just some of our backs, because you were hired to be the attorney for 7, not 2 or 3.
That's my question. Seriously, city attorney, that is my question, that you have to show me in black and white. I'm going to look up the charter that says you can give one opinion because I read it and I don't remember that. So I'm going to look up the charter.
Section 3.3.1.
But the big thing that I see now is you're the attorney for a city that's not operating, and you're doing nothing to get it back to being operated. So my question is, again, and I'm not being mean because I'm not a mean person, and I happen to like you a lot, but what you're doing is not working and taking the pay. So that you're not working on the projects that came before us because we didn't vote on them for 2 months. You're not working on getting us the ability to be a city and run again. You should have had a lawsuit the last time saying that they have to come back. Because the problem is we can't make them come back. You may not even be able to make them come back, but you certainly can have the courts make them come back to go to work. And it's embarrassing for the public. I tell this story, which is the only light I see in this whole circumstances is when we were at the 5,000 role model. We happened to sit next to Opalaka. And I know the mayor, who happens to be a preacher, and I know him from the day I was elected. I went to Opalaka to see how they run their city. And here he is again, a commissioner. And I said to him, you know what? Anytime Opalaka wants to thank us, please feel free, because as we're moving down, you got to move up, and you're not the worst city in Dade County anymore. You know, everybody that I tell that to, they think it's so funny. It's the saddest story I could say. It's not funny. It is not funny. North Miami Beach has a lot of issues. And when I tell you we have a lot of issues, when the lady calls and says there's homeless on 164th Street, what are you going to do about it? When the lady calls and tells me about the graffiti on 19th Avenue, what am I going to do about it? When the lady on 35th Avenue called me and told me that the pile of dirt is sitting there and nobody has done nothing for a month, what am I going to do about it? When they call me, and that's the calls a commissioner gets that has to stop what they're doing and take care of it. But how can we take care of things that need to be actual resolutions or ordinances when we can't function? So I don't know what you're going to do, but I'll tell you, Mr. Attorney, I hope you'll do something tomorrow and make sure that you put something to somebody, get some kind of whatever it is that needs to be done in the courts to bring our city back to functioning. And if you can't do that, then I want to know what are we paying you for?
Yeah, because you're getting direction from 4 commissioners. You got directions from 2 commissioners to get an opinion. Here are 4 commissioners giving you direction, and you're not doing anything.
We want to have a
Mr.
quorum
Smuggler,
to bring the quorum.
Mr. Smuggler, I have an obligation to ensure that we're complying with the charter and the city code. And
You have no obligation to run the city?
that's the manager's job, that's not my job.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
The issue of this precedent was established by a prior commission.
No, that's for
relating to
something
Franz
else.
Pierre.
For a commissioner
And the
missing
opinion-
180 days, 120 days.
Opinion
It's
is,
a different issue. It's a different issue. Come
the court
on.
decided
You know
it.
that.
Smuggler,
You know it's
again,
a different issue. How, I mean,
there's
seriously.
some factual differences, but in essence, when you look at it, the precedent was established with the way the commission dealt with Franz Pierre, and we're following that
And that was a
precedent.
different commission.
Let me ask you, can I just ask him something? How long do you think we should let this go? I'm just asking you, do you want it to be another
Well,
month, 2
there
months,
was-
3
there's a
months, when you're
lawsuit-
going to step in?
I don't care. Let our city.
No, that's,
do it.
again, this is.
No,
an
let me
issue.
hear him.
Again, there's an issue, and I think from a policy standpoint, it's up to the member of the commission, and certain members basically have taken a position based on what I have heard from them through the media, that they obviously have agreed with the opinion that was issued with respect to the mayor vacating the seat by operational law. And so that's the issue,
Okay,
Okay, hold on.
I'd like to.
Wait,
I'd like
let
to
me-
talk.
okay?
Commissioner Chernoff and then.
Clearly, you're taking direction from 2 commissioners. Right now, 4 of us are giving you direction.
4.
You're not following. You're saying you have to do, no. 2 of them, even if you take the mayor out of the picture, 3 of us are saying we want you to do something, and not 2. So 3, as far as I know, 3 bosses are over 2 bosses. 3 wins.
Can I just say something? Look, first of all, I have not sought any legal opinion, but I have had people in the city, attorneys who know city business, not attorneys that do malpractice, attorneys that do city business. Every single one of them, like 5 of them, have called me to tell me that this is wrong, that that opinion is wrong. So let me ask you a question. If I went ahead and got an opinion from someone who said that, oh no, the mayor does live in North Miami Beach, the other opinion is wrong, whose opinion are you going to believe? The opinion that was sought out by 2 commissioners, or the opinion I sought out? Or does my opinion not count because that's not what you want to hear?
No, Commissioner.
If I got an opinion that said that the mayor is a legal resident, does that count?
You have every right to get any opinion you want, and you can provide me with the opinion. I will review it just like I review the opinion that was issued to me, and to make sure it has a basis in law and fact. So if you want to get a different written opinion, and you want to provide it to me, I'm willing to review it and consider it.
Mr. Attorney, who paid for the opinion that was given to you?
This is with respect to the opinion, I have to hire outside counsel, and that's paid by the city.
Okay,
So excuse me, just a second. Wait a minute. So you paid the person to do the 45-page opinion?
the city paid.
The city paid?
And an abundance of caution, since I've been accused of having a conflict of interest, I have to take the accusation seriously and get an independent review, just like obviously Jose Smith did when he hired outside counsel to issue opinion with respect to Franz Pierre. Similar outside counsel hiring in terms of making sure that there's no conflict of interest involved.
Listen, I hate when I say listen, forgive me. Here's what I want to say. 2 things. Number 1 is that being the case, I too know a lot of attorneys. My son's an attorney. He is not he's not an attorney that does government. But if you're right, the opinion is right. He doesn't live in the city. You have no authority to remove him. None. They don't either. If 6 of us say he doesn't live in the city, the people elected him. You didn't elect him. I didn't elect him on my vote. The people elected him. So if he doesn't live in the city,
Commissioner, I just want to make no further. I agree with you. I'm not removing the mayor.
okay, excuse me, let me finish my thought so you'll understand. So the 6 of us cannot remove him, even if we say it could only be done through a court. So here's 3 of your commissioners that are saying, I will not sit and do city business because I don't believe he's the mayor. But guess what? You don't get to choose. You could believe he's not the mayor, but you can't remove him. He could die, God forbid. He could resign. The governor could take him for a criminal act, or the court. So are you starting a court proceeding because you agree with the opinion? Did you start a court proceeding to remove the mayor so that we can have city business? Did you do that?
If you recall, the opinion basically before any court.
A yes or no answer.
I'm just answering the question that to make sure that the mayor had due process to have a special meeting where he can testify on the oath to refute the conclusion of the opinion. So to give the mayor opportunity to at least before this body with the other commissioners to refute the obviously the public
I believe, excuse me, I believe he has said more than once on television, on front of not just North Miami Beach, but all of Dade County, and my son saw it up in Atlanta. I believe that he has said over and over again in a meeting, I live in the city, I've always lived in the city, and unless a court declares that he doesn't, they're not going to show up. Now, that's where we're at. We're between a rock and a hard place. So you either give the kid that's fighting on the floor in the grocery store and kicking and screaming on the floor the candy, and so the next time he'll scream louder, or you let him scream and walk away, pick him up, and take him out of the grocery store. What we're doing here, what you're telling me, is you're not going to do anything. Just let this continue and continue and continue. It isn't me. I didn't want to rush out of the meeting that was very important that I had tonight. It was a double night of meetings. I certainly was here all day. I did not want to come back. But this is a responsibility we have to the people. But you know what's happening? You as the attorney are taking away the people's business because you're not filing what you believe to be true to get rid of him. You're not doing it.
Commissioner Smith, obviously, looking at the precedent that this city established with Franz Pierre.
Wait, stop.
Want to give the
Let's talk about this.
No,
Let's
stop.
talk about where we are now.
we want to give the mayor.
Stop, Mr. Attorney.
Excuse me, wait.
Stop.
still
I want
have
to,
the floor.
wait.
I have the floor because I want to.
Guys, let's please.
Wait 1 minute. The difference between Franz Pierre, and that's why, please don't bring it up again. No one, all 6 of us stayed here. No one stopped the city business. That's the difference. So keep bringing it up, and it doesn't play with anybody except you not looking good. So let's do what we're dealing with today. Let's deal with, we, again, don't have a meeting. Let's deal with what we have, and let's look to you as our attorney to correct it for the residents.
Right, we don't need employees like that.
Okay. May I speak?
Go ahead, Commissioner Chernow.
Mr. Attorney, you keep quoting Franz Pierre. Franz Pierre, how did it ultimately get settled? By a court.
Mr. Pierre had filed a lawsuit.
Right, by court.
Right.
By court. Not by the city attorney's opinion, not by outside counsel's opinion. It had to get determined by court. That's the only thing that can remove him. So let's go to court.
Mr. Chernow.
No, I don't want to hear it, okay?
Please note.
Franz Pierre has nothing to do with this.
Please note.
Commissioner Smucker, you have the floor next.
The commission had voted to fill a vacancy with respect to Franz Pierre because by operational law, he had vacated the seat. Based on the decision.
The courts brought him back.
Yes, he filed a lawsuit.
You have the floor.
Then he came back, he was allowed back.
But again,
Because he missed 120 days. For those of you that don't know, Franz Pierre has kidney failure. He missed meetings. That's why. And then he was brought back. He came back. And the only reason he left because he got arrested. He got arrested. Nothing to do with kidney failure, nothing to do with missing 120 days of meetings. It was because he did something he shouldn't have done.
And the governor removed him.
Right. So it's 2 different things. I don't understand. Look, I've never been to the mayor's house. I know he used to live in Sunray, right? Yeah. He says he lives in Eastern Shores. It is not, I don't know. I've seen him driving into Eastern Shores at 11 p.m. on a weeknight. That I can tell you. But I don't know. It's not for me to decide. It's not for any of the other six of us to decide. It is for the courts to decide. And until the court decides, we need to conduct city business and stop being childish and walking off or going on TV and saying, I'm not going to come to a meeting while he's the mayor. That is childish, irresponsible. Irresponsible means they don't care about any of you. They don't care about the city. They don't care about the police officers that need things. They don't care about the water plants. What they care about is on January 1st, paying a police officer overtime to drive half an hour and keep the police officer there for hours and hours because he can't walk or drive his own car from down the block to the Spanish monastery. That's important. Having a sergeant of arms is important, but having a functioning water plant isn't. Maybe that's the person that needs to be kicked out. We have to know we were elected to run the city. It's not your fault, is it? You're just going by an opinion. But, so if I got an opinion, are you going to pay for it? Is the city going to pay for it?
If you want an opinion, obviously if it's within the scope of public purpose, obviously the city,
You know,
required to pay.
you know, I watch too much of these Datelines and 48 Hours, but there's going to be a crime done, and then they're going to have someone to say that the person died because he was shot by that person. And the other expert is going to say, no, that's not how he died. There's always going to be two sides to the story. There's always going to be two opinions, not facts, two opinions. There's going to be one side with one opinion, one side with another opinion. I'm sure you can come with 10 opinions that say that he doesn't live here. I'm sure I can come with 10 opinions that say he does. And not that I want to. Not that I'm trying to defend him. I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just trying to make our city run. If at the end of the night, he does not live here, if the court says he doesn't live here, so be it. I don't care. It's not my problem. What I care about is that the city of North Miami Beach functions. I care about it. I can tell you Commissioner Smith cares about it. I can tell you Commissioner Chernoff cares about it. I can tell you the Mayor DeFilippo cares about it. But I can tell you that Commissioner McKenzie, all he cares about is going on TV saying, oh, I'm not going to come to a commission meeting until he's out of there. I can tell you that Commissioner Joseph doesn't care about it. I can tell you that Commissioner Jean don't care about it either because they're not here. Why aren't they here today? This is not a commission meeting. This is a workshop. They can be here. They could be here today. Why are they not here today? Because they don't care. Because they don't care. You don't know the answer to that. I know.
I don't.
They don't care.
The charter, that was the law created by the people. The code was created by the commission. I have obligation to ensure that we comply with the law.
Okay, why aren't they here today?
I don't
Why aren't they here
control
today?
any
This is
elected
not
official.
a commission meeting. They could be here
Don't control
today.
any elected official.
You know what? If you're listening, you could have come today. Okay?
Mr. Attorney,
Yes, Commissioner.
4 of your bosses are telling you to defend us. Please defend us.
I will.
We want a quorum.
Mr.
I should not have to go get an injunction to make sure that we have a quorum. That should be done by you respectfully. You should be able to do that. That is the city's obligation for you to go to the courts and say, I have commissioners that aren't showing up at our commission meeting, and we need to make sure that they're there the next time.
Mayor, I'm following the front precedent.
Please don't say that again, Mr. Attorney. Please, really and truly.
That really makes you look bad.
Commissioner, the opinion is public record. Anybody want to read it, they can find it. And the opinion has all the attachment, all the minutes relating to Franz Pierre.
Mr. Attorney.
all it is an opinion.
Mr.
You're
Attorney.
laying the foundation for why you won't be here once we have a quorum.
Mr. Attorney, how much should that outside opinion cost us?
I have to look at the proposal.
I'd like you to report.
More or less, how much did it cost us?
It should be no less than 17, 18,000. Yeah.
$18,000. Okay.
No less than?
Yeah.
So more than? So more than 18,000?
Yes.
More than 20,000?
No more than 20,000. I'm just going off.
No more than $20,000. So you spend on because two commissioners told you to, you spend $20,000.
I say, that's not the exact number. I will give it to you.
Okay, so you spend about $20,000 because two commissioners told
I
you
have
to.
an obligation to ensure that the law is complied with, and I
Okay,
had to
so
avoid
if
complications.
at the end of the night, they determine that the mayor does live in North Miami Beach, I'm requesting that $20,000 comes out of your salary.
That's, you can make that request, that's fine.
I also.
It may not comply with the law, but.
I'm not sure some of the things that are happening that you're exactly complying. It scares me because I like you, and I'm afraid of what you're doing.
Commissioner Smith, I like you too. Thank you.
No, but I'm afraid of what you're doing. It frightens me because I will tell you something. An attorney for the city, for municipality, takes an oath that they'll take care of the municipality. And that oath is a real gray area now. That's a gray area. I want to know.
I took oath under the Florida bar to follow the law and
Yeah, but
comply.
that's where your livelihood is with your bar license. And I would, anyway, let's not get into something personal. The question that's interesting, just that I want to say, if really one of the commissioners felt that the mayor had to be removed, why didn't that commissioner come to the meeting as he was the vice mayor? So if they were going to remove him, he had to run the meeting. And he didn't even come to the meeting. So the teeth might not have been there in what they thought, but I honestly feel it's your responsibility as an attorney for North Miami Beach to get this commission working and taking care of the people. That is not the manager's responsibility because he can't file a lawsuit. If you're spending no more than $20,000, maybe $15,000, if that's the kind of money you're spending on two people asking you to get an opinion, I would want you to spend the money and go to court and get this commission taking care of the people that elected us to take care of them. That's my direction.
And spending $20,000 because two commissioners, I don't care what the topic is, spending $20,000 for two commissioners, I think you really should have gotten our opinion if we wanted to spend that. That's a lot of money to spend, and you really should have asked us.
Commissioner Smuggler, as you recall, there was a FAA lawsuit that the city had to defend. There was a budget of $300,000.
Right, and you
spent
stopped it because it was too much money.
No, I brought that to your attention because I felt that case
You
wasn't.
did, yes, and we stopped it because it was too much money.
Did you
But
bring this to our attention?
With respect to, yes, I issue opinion.
No, did you bring it to our attention before you went and hired somebody to do this?
Which basically was provided, to all the members of the commission, was an opinion that I kept secret with the members that requested. It was issued to every single member of the commission.
yeah, after you spend the money.
Okay?
No, but, all this is just going around, as the mayor has said, quit beating around the bush. This city needs to operate. This city needs to take votes, take care of people that want to invest here. We need to stop being the laughing stock. We need to get out of the newspaper unless the newspaper is giving us such acclimates for how good we're doing. This isn't what I ran for. I ran to correct it. But you know what's happened, and I'm going to tell it like it is. What happened is, hey, that didn't work. So let's try this. Prolong it as long as we can. We'll get our benefits, we'll get our money. You're getting paid and you're not taking care of the people. The public sees it. And I can tell you the public's not going to forget. They are not going to forget. But the biggest thing of all is that the desire to take care of the city that was thrust upon me has taken such a back burner that I don't know how long it'll take us to dig ourselves back out and get control of the finances. I put down the very first meeting to talk to get the audit, a forensic audit. Yes, I said discuss finances, forensic audit. Now you see it in every email, get a forensic audit. Well, you know what? You can't do anything until you have a quorum with a majority votes. And if you're not going to do something about getting a quorum, then maybe we have to hire outside counsel ourselves and take it out of what you make. I don't know. But we can't keep functioning 3 months with no meeting.
Mr. Mayor?
I want to say one thing, and I'll leave it to Mr. Chernoff, but I'm going to say something. Mr. Attorney, and I'm going to say this with all respect. I'm not here to put anybody's name over the mud, but I'm going to be very clear. You know, you also told me when I was elected just what Commissioner Chernoff said. Mayor DiFilippo, I'm your attorney. I'm here. I have your back. And I'm here to give you advice. And whenever you need anything, come to me. And if I need to come to you, I'm going to come to you. You know, Mr. Altena, you never came to me. Not once. Not once. I said, Mr. Mayor, let me have your ear for a second. Let's sit down and talk. This question's come up. One of your commissioners have this concern. You know, I have this concern. Mr. Altena, you and I have a relationship that goes above what we have here on the dais. You and I have been coaches for Little League. We've been helping children. We've done so many things together. And the fact that you didn't have the courtesy and the respect to come to me and say, Mr. Mayor, let's have a conversation. This is going on. Can you clarify this for me? Because we have that relationship. At least I thought we had. And I see we don't.
Obviously not.
I see we don't. And then, with your expertise and you're an attorney, knowing that if you had commissioners that were asking you this, you knew what the process was. You could have told them, look, if you think that, then go ahead and sue the mayor. Sue the mayor, and this will be decided in a court because that's the way it's done. If any of these commissioners in their individual capacity wanted to do so, they could. They know the process. Nobody's done that. Yet you took it upon yourself to cross that bridge and the attorney-client privilege and the relationship that we had, you totally threw in the handbasket. And you went ahead, and instead of asking any questions, you went ahead on an assumption and a desire of two commissioners to go ahead and put a narrative out there that I vacated my seat because of an opinion that you gave, and you know darn well that you cannot throw anybody out of their seat on an opinion. That was very wrong. Okay? And I say it with the utmost respect. I have not raised my voice. I have not put you to shame. And I don't expect you to do it to me either. With the same respect that I'm treating you is what I hoped you would have done to me. And you know what? You did the damn opposite. You stabbed me in the damn back. Because you had good and well an opportunity to pull me aside and sit down and say, Mayor, explain this to me. And you would have had your explanation. Yet you chose to cause this chaos. This is happening because of you, sir. Okay? And these three commissioners that don't want to come because of this false pretense and this narrative that you put out there that you vacated my seat, which you have no authority under the law to do. And for that is why I have that resentment against you. And nothing else, because we worked before on other things and done great things together.
I want to talk. Okay, so do you have authority to say that the mayor should be vacating his seat?
Commissioner Smart, respectfully, I don't have authority to remove the mayor. However, I have authority to issue opinion that's consistent with the law based on the facts that's available.
But you know that it's
opinion-
a court that has to determine.
Here's the.
You know what you know the problem we have here?
what-
Now you've triggered a reporter that's sitting right there in that back row with a false narrative that he's been running with for 3 weeks that I vacated my seat, and I haven't. And it's wrong, and you need to take that back.
Mr. Mayor, I didn't.
You need to take
I didn't
that
create
back.
the facts.
Did he vacate his seat?
I didn't, based on the city charter and city code, by operational law.
Did he
opinion-
vacate his seat?
The opinion concluded
No, I'm
that,
asking
but
a
given,
He vacated.
based on the
Did he
opinion issue.
Did he vacate it?
Opinion,
You said,
I'm asking you a question.
You said the
I'm
mayor
answering.
vacated
The
his
opinion,
seat.
I
Did
concur.
I?
Did he vacate
I
it?
concur with
Yes
the
or no?
opinion. I'm answering the question. I concur.
I just want a yes or no.
Well,
Did he vacate it?
based on the opinion, the answer is yes.
Okay, did a judge or the governor order for him to be removed?
Again,
I'm at, yes or
Mr.
no?
Mayor, let's stop.
Yes or no? No, I want to, yes or no?
The facts.
Did a judge?
This is based
Did a
on
judge
precedent
or the
that's
governor?
established by the
I asked
city
you a yes or
commission.
no question. Did the judge or a governor?
Judge has not ruled yet. The governor has.
Okay, that's it. Now I have more questions. When was the firm hired to do this?
I don't have the date off the top of my head.
More or less, when was the firm hired?
Whenever I believe the email request was made of me, and I have to go look at the email.
Was it a day ago, a week ago, a year ago? Was it a month ago? When was it made? More or less. Was it before Christmas?
Mr. Smuggler,
Was it before
I need to
Christmas?
go look at the email.
Was it
I
before
need to look at
Christmas?
the email. I don't want to speculate. I don't.
Was it before
Mr.
Christmas?
Smuggler, I will have to look at the email. I don't want to speculate. I don't have it on my phone. Okay.
Okay, how many billable hours did they work on this for $20,000 bill?
I believe it was a fixed fee. It wasn't a billable hour.
When last in December, I sat up here and I said it was time for change. And, afterwards I felt really bad because you and I have had a good relationship. We have. Right?
We have a very professional, respectful relationship.
We do.
And we still do.
Yes, we do. And I felt really bad about saying, it's time to change. And, I had that Jewish guilt over me and and I didn't like it. I didn't like that I said that and I felt really bad. And, I was thinking about it. But seriously, after Friday, when I got that email that you went ahead and you got an opinion from two attorneys, from two commissioners. Well, let me finish.
Okay.
From two commissioners, without consulting us, because you could have consulted us, just like you consulted with the FAA and you said it's too much money. You consulted with us here at the theater, but on the dais. You consulted individually, at least with me, and then on the dais, you consulted with us. And we stopped being part of that lawsuit because it was too much money. You really should have consulted with us for spending $20,000. And you know very well, because you are an attorney, I just watch attorneys on TV, but you know very well that there's always two different opinions. And just because you got an opinion doesn't mean that that person there is not going to get another opinion.
Or that I won't.
Or that he won't. And if he spends $20,000 for that opinion, now we're going to have to pay $40,000 for this.
No, I'm next.
I want to ask a question.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Attorney, no more comment on this. I think the attorney has seen clear vision from what we want up here, which is for him to figure out how to get 3 other people to get up here and to do city business.
Correct.
If he doesn't see fit to do that,
We want that by.
then vacate.
We want that.
Vacate your position, leave. Yes, we want to see tomorrow that you're
want that
moving
on our
forward.
desk tomorrow. We want to know that you have filed a court order to make sure that these seats are all filled when we call a special
You
meeting.
have to also follow us as well.
Right now, I am the mayor.
Follow
Right now, you have 3
commissioners.
commissioners. Right now,
The
this is a
math
workshop.
The math is, there's more here. The majority, if he doesn't count you, there's 3 that are telling him to 2 that told you. So listen to the 3 and go and do it. No comment. Just, it needs to be done. If you don't do it, hold his pay.
I would like to know, Mr. Attorney, please send out to us tomorrow when this opinion was ordered. The mayor sold his house over almost 14 months ago. 14 months ago, he sold his house. When did they decide to get an opinion? Did they do it after the
election.
commission changed?
Yeah.
And they did not have their commission and their free-for-all and do whatever they wanted? So they wanted to say, well, at least maybe we can get another 6 months? I need to know when that was filed.
I will send you copies of emails that
I appreciate that. It's public record, and I appreciate
record.
that.
I will-
And I concur. I feel very strongly it's your responsibility to make this city commission. If they're not going to do it, then you have to go and file whatever you need to file in the courts to make sure that the people have their government running in their city.
And do it like you mean it. Like, do it real. Yeah, like, do it. Like, make sure it's going to stand up in court. Not like, let's not like pay too much. Let's not pay too much attention to it because it's unimportant. Do it like you mean it, because four people up here are asking you right now to do it.
And I'll tell you, it puts us all on hold. I go away in February. It's my granddaughter and my son's birthday. I go away. And I told the clerk, if I have to, I'll fly out for the birthday and fly back, so I'll be here at the meeting. Is that a way for me to live? No. But government can't be held up because the police, my gosh, the police need what they need, and they need it when they need it. The water plant, yes, they can still buy their chemicals, but they're buying smaller packages that cost you so much more because we didn't vote on buying the bigger bulk chemicals. Just every department, children that had to have an improvement that we were going to vote on for their playgrounds. Just every department. And what I find, and why I unfortunately get so frustrated that my voice does start to raise, is because there's no reason for this. Come, you don't agree, you vote no. You don't agree, you tell us why we should vote no. But you stop government for the people that voted for you to do it. When somebody says, and you've seen the emails, I'm sure, that they're going to start a recall, do you know that my neighbors called me and asked me how they could sign it?
Yep.
How they could sign it.
How
And it hasn't even been started.
I've had people asking me, who do they send money to for it?
So I'm just telling you that that's what's going on in North Miami Beach. It's a sad day for us. And please, everybody that's listening and everybody that came, just know that we will turn this around. It may take an extra month, it may take an extra 2, but we will turn this around. Because why? Because we were elected to take care of you, and I know that the people that are sitting up here are going to do their best to do that.
Okay.
Another subject.
Commission help. Commissioner Smith?
Okay, this is where, Mr. Manager, this is where I am not understanding what is going on the 4th floor with help. First place, I have not seen an assistant except Commissioner Smuckler's. So these assistants are unnecessary at all. They need to be removed, and we need to have 1 or 2 people that are in charge of taking care of the commission. Number 2, why is the door always closed where the woman that takes care of us is? I'm a little bit, and I asked her that. And she said the noise. She's in a hallway where there is no noise. I'm a little taken back by that. All the things that I've seen in government, not just from North Miami Beach, not just from here, because I did go and spend the time learning other governments. All those people up there, and yet the efficiency is not really where it should be. It's not. When you say to somebody, tell me every single meeting where you are collecting people so I can go. And the reason I want to go is not so that I can have lunch, because I didn't eat lunch. It's so that you gathered the people and I can ask the people, what did you like? What don't you like? I couldn't knock on every door, especially the first 6 months. And then it's sent an email, and it is also the next day a long conversation and explaining to them why I need that. And then that very night, I get a phone call from my family, why aren't I at Washington Park? What's at Washington Park? The mayor's movie. So that bothers me. It bothers me that we have too many people and it's not proficient. What happened with the float? that it wasn't in time. We need to correct how the city's money is being spent for the care of the city running and the commissioners. And that's why I brought this up. I brought it up because let's get the help that we need, but let's get it to where we go to that person for this, we go to that person for this, not that you go to 6 people and it falls through the cracks. So that's the reason I'm bringing it up. I don't know about the rest of you, but I find to have an assistant on a very poor city, that for us to spend another $35,000 taxpayer money a year is, again, obscene.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Commissioner Turner.
I too agree with Phyllis. The assistant program is we're part-time legislators. We don't need an assistant. We're part-time. There should be 2 full-time people that work for us and do the request of us, of the mayor and council.
I just will say, I use my assistant. I do get a lot of calls and a lot of emails.
Okay.
So I agree with all of you, but I will tell you, I do use my assistant. And before that, we had Greg Williams, which was our assistant. So in the mayor's offices and the commission, there's always been at least 2 bodies that have helped everybody. But since that changed, that agreement changed, that the manager changed, then each one of us had to get our own. And that's.
Well, I would say we go back to the 2 that are beholden to all 7 of us. And the individual ones, the mayor is a different story. The mayor's got to do a lot more things. He's got to, if he needs extra help, then get him extra help, and, so on and so forth. But the bottom line is the 6 commissioners, we don't need assistance. It's ludicrous.
I'll let
It's a waste of a citizen's money.
I'll let the mayor use my assistant of the 2. He can have mine. I'll do my own stuff.
So
He doesn't need an assistant either.
okay, so I read, answer my own emails. I take my own calls. I respond to my own calls. I don't need an assistant. But about a year and a half ago, I realized that unless I had an assistant, I couldn't get anything done. So that's when I hired Nicholas, and Nicholas used to work here. And really the reason I hired him was because the Heart Health Walk was coming up, and there was no history because everybody had left, and no one knew what to do. So I said, perfect. Called Nicholas. Nicholas, he lives in North Miami Beach. He cares about North Miami Beach. It doesn't pay much, but you can help me with the Heart Health Walk. And he did. And the Heart Health Walk was amazing. I love public affairs. They're all great employees. They're all wonderful employees. But this is the problem, that if Nicholas isn't taking care of the Heart Health Walk, they're not. So if it were not for Nicholas, there would not be a Heart Health Walk. And I know that Nicholas also offered to help you with the Bike 305. Yeah. So yes, he's my aide, but he's doing the Heart Health Walk, which it's only my event because I'm the liaison to it. But like I said, he's helping the mayor with the Bike 305. So, and then I also heard, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that some of the other floating aides that we've had have been changed to another position, to other departments.
Senior aide.
Who?
Is that true? Like I haven't seen, well, I know Rowena had the baby, right?
Commissioner Florence.
Rowena
Is
full-time employee.
And where is she now?
She's on maternity leave.
Okay, and what about Manushka?
Anushka's still here. Still here.
Where? Because I haven't seen her in a long time.
I saw her, I think, yesterday. I don't know.
She's working for us?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen her in the longest time. All right, so the point is, Commissioner Smuggler, do not need an aide, but Nicholas is doing the Heart Health Walk, But by
Make
5,
Nicholas one of the two.
Yeah, make Nicholas one of the two. The thing is that,
but he's a part-timer,
but that we,
From full-time.
you know,
for the manager to do.
this is the thing that's that I find the most important is that when we have that person, that's the person you hold accountable to, not 6 people and did you do it, did you do it, did you get it done? I feel very strongly the city will run much smoother, our events will be much better, and we'll have 2 people, and even if the mayor finds that he's under stress, under pressure, it's too much, then we'll address it again later. But we need to go back to saying that we're all, as you said, we are part-timers, and we are all going to be responsible, but that makes us more responsible. I answer my emails too. I answer my calls too. It makes us more responsible.
That's how it should be, but some commissioners don't believe that.
Well, I just don't. You're telling me there are 2 people that are full-time up there, plus each person had their own commissioner?
Their own aide?
Their own aide?
So I know, does Commissioner Jean still have her own aide?
No, but who's the 2 people that are up there?
There's only one full-time person.
Mishka.
Nadia.
No, Nadia.
Well, who's that Mishka?
Part-time, she's part-time.
Oh, okay.
Nadia is assistant to the senior staff, your staff, not,
No, she works for the commission.
Now she works now.
now she does.
Yes.
Not before.
But for example, the farm share events, Nicholas is organizing it. But when they were doing the public gift cards, Nicholas went ahead and showed up at 5:30 in the morning and helped that. So I'm not trying to make Nicholas sound like he's the best in the world. He is. But he is. But he's
first.
helping. He'll help anyone. He's not. I mean, yes, he's technically my aide, but he's there.
But I'm going to make the suggestion we do away with aides, and that we hire 2 full-time people that take care of the commissioners. If you want to take a trip, that person prepares it for all 7 of us. If all 7 of us are going, prepares it for 4 are going. Keeps in. I'm prepared to go back to that.
Yeah, because before public affairs did everything, we never they knew what to do. There was an event, they did it, and that was it. We never needed
And
it.
why did public affairs stop, Mr. Manager? Why did they stop doing it?
I know we lost a bunch of people from public affairs. They left. And at the time, it was the will of the board that they wanted aides. So they voted to have aides included in the budget. So that's where the aides came from.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think at this point, we should have 2 people. Nicholas certainly should be one. I know him a long time. He's an honest, wonderful worker and cares about the city and
He wants to work full-time.
I'm sure we could approach him.
She's been here for a while and she's helped you and me.
I love your assistant.
So, I mean, we have 2 people already, but it's up to the manager. You speak to them and see how you feel. But I think that the aides have to be eliminated.
I agree.
I would definitely respectfully ask that I'm able to put that on the next agenda because it is a budgeted item that was voted for the aides. So I have no problem carrying it out, but I would ask that it go on the agenda for it to be removed.
So, City Attorney, you could prepare as you make sure that we have a meeting and that we have a quorum. You could prepare a resolution to change the budget to.
I will work with the city manager office and finance office to.
Okay, so wait, I just want clarification. So we still have the aides until the next commission meeting?
Until legislation is.
Yeah, until legislation is passed on it, yes.
I mean, did we vote for aides in the first place?
Yes, and in the budget as well,
You
yes.
budgeted it for it.
All right.
And then if you'll review also how it works upstairs and who's going to be in charge of what and what, because I saw today that there is a trip planned for Tallahassee. I don't know if everybody's on that list is invited to go, but do we need to take the manager and 4 assistants or 3 assistants? If the manager goes and if he needed an assistant,
Need an assistant for Dave.
It's only been the manager and the commissioners.
it was just on the list, the names
Yeah,
were
they
all-
probably
Days?
just,
You're talking days?
Yeah, we don't need a.
Not,
we probably just copied. I mean, that's,
But here, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Manager. I'm sorry, finish your statement. I just wanted to say something that's going to help us all. Go ahead.
no, I'm fine. I'm
So what I wanted to say is, you know, best practices for this city has always been to go up to Tallahassee and present our legislation, all of you know it, before days. Nothing. This is a proven fact, and all of you know it. Nothing has ever been accomplished by going up there on days, except for eating a paella and having a little rubbing elbows with other people in the county, and you come back.
That's correct.
So my opinion is, hey, if we want to go up to day just to reassure that our legislation is moving, that's great. Maybe only a couple of people in the manager. But before days is when we have to define and go and lobby for our items. Yes, we have a lobbyist, but our face needs to be there. And that's the question that I always have every year. And we've always, it's happened at the last minute, but this year I don't want to see that happen. I'd like to know that day starts in March, is in March. That means we have to be up there in January now.
yeah, the end of January. And you have to, what it isn't just to go see our representatives, we have to prepare 5 things that this city wants that has shovel ready that we can ask our legislators in Tallahassee to fund. And that's what needs to be brought before us for us to approve. And then we need to make the plans to go meet with them, because you also have to get, from their secretaries, their assistants, appointments.
And I do give credit where it's due. Mr. Francisco, from your staff, I was in the hallway and he said, Mr. Mayor, can you give me an idea of what your priorities want to be for, and I explained to him, I gave him a couple of them, all of them were mainly water and infrastructure. But, it's all of us that need to give our input so that we go with one solid plan and a booklet that explains everything we need. But we need to be doing that now. We need to be doing that yesterday.
Yeah, and I just want to say for the people watching out there, like, oh, here's a trip, they're planning a trip. The legislative trip to Tallahassee and the days, believe it or not, are beneficial to the city. And probably the only other trip I think is beneficial is the
League of Cities.
Which one?
League of Cities.
Florida League of Cities, yeah. So those, yes, we're traveling, yes, we're wasting your tax dollars, but yes, those are,
We're lobbying to get money.
yeah.
Bring back
We're
home.
meeting people and lobbying to get money, so.
So can you give us an idea, all of us in an email, that'll tell us what we're doing before, if we can get there before?
yes, sir. As you said, Francisco did reach out to you, and I think everyone working on the legislative party. So we're trying to wrap that up now.
Thank you.
We'll get I'll get a date set up for later this month for the trip and get some appointments set up for us to meet with individuals. I'll take care of it.
Mr. Attorney, if you'll talk to some of your colleagues and find out your plan of action to get our commission working again, and if you'll email us that by the end of the day tomorrow. I'd like to see what your plan is going to be. Are you going to file a lawsuit that they have to come back to perform? Are you going to file a lawsuit that you recommend that the mayor is removed? Whatever you're going to do, action to get this city running again, I'd like to know by the end of the day tomorrow, Friday.
I will obviously talk to the other commissioners and give you an update by the end of the day.
I would talk to other legal attorneys.
We have given him direction
Right.
here right now.
Right now, we have. That's
Tomorrow.
the
What do you
direction.
mean you're going to talk to the commissioners? What does that mean?
That means I will individually talk to each member of the commission, indicate what I intend to do, and
Oh, 7.
But Mr. Attorney, you're talking foolishly right now. You did a lawsuit. You got a law opinion from 2 commissioners. You got 4 up here which are telling you what to do.
Tomorrow to bring us an injunction in order to have these commissioners come to a meeting. That's
I did.
Trying to make our
Commissioner Smith just asked me to email plan of action, and I did not disagree with her. That's it.
Okay, but what does it mean that
4
you?
are telling you now.
Well, I'd like to have an explanation what you meant that you were going to speak to the commissioners. Who are you going to speak to?
all the members of the commission.
All 7 of us.
And let them know what,
Oh, wait.
what your 4 commissioners.
I want you to answer. All 7 of us?
Technically is 6 based on this opinion, and we gave the mayor opportunity to come in and
Based on an opinion that you know very well that someone else will give a contrasting opinion, right?
I haven't seen any contrasting opinion.
But you know very well, you know, as an attorney, you know that if you wanted to get a contrasting opinion on something, you could, right?
You can always ask for opinion from any.
Mr. Manager, do you have discretionary funds right now?
I believe I have a contingency account.
Okay, enough to hire another attorney right now that would work for us?
Yes.
All right, would you look into that tomorrow for me? Thank you.
No problem.
Well,
He's not going to work for it. He wants to call 7 people. 4 of them are giving him direction.
He wants to call 6 people. An attorney that doesn't know any of us, that has no friendships or biases with any of us, please.
On top of all that, I believe the attorney, if he's not going to be the attorney, then you have to make a decision. Mr. On, what are you doing? Are you going to be the attorney for North Miami Beach that you were hired to be? I don't know what you're doing here right now. Why would we have to hire another attorney when we have an attorney?
Commissioner Smith, I indicate I will give you the plan of action as you requested. Okay?
I ask you not to talk to, you could talk to whoever you like. I'm not telling you not to talk to them. I'm asking you to talk to other municipal attorneys and ask them how you should proceed. And then I would like you to give us what your plan of action is going to be. Now, if we have to hire another attorney to do your job, that's frightening.
Commissioner Smith, I talk to municipal attorneys all the time, and
On this issue?
on every issue.
But on this issue is what we're addressing.
In fact, my colleagues, with respect to this issue, they're well aware of it, and I have not heard any contrary opinion from any colleagues.
Okay, well,
Is the direction of the 4 commissioners that are sitting here today, the mayor and commission, that is a valid mayor and commission having a workshop, is it the desire of this commission, as it was said before, and we voted on? I want to make sure it's on the record. Do we want to give,
Do not vote at a workshop, please.
we're not voting.
We're giving direction.
Are we giving direction to the attorney, as we stated before, that we want him to have on our desk tomorrow a document that shows that he's in the process of making sure that we have an injunction to have the other commissioners show up? Because at the end of the day, that's what I'm achieving to do. Now, if he's going to do it because there was no action by this city attorney to make sure we had a quorum, that's what I'm trying to accomplish. That's what we've all wanted to see here tonight.
Absolutely.
Is that what we're asking of the attorney?
I am asking that, yes.
Okay.
I am asking yes, because our city needs to function. We have police department, we have water department, we have so many departments, we have developers, we have, did you get my email about that variance?
Hold on one second. Commissioner Smith, is
and
that
I'm
what
right.
you want to see too?
I want to see our city functioning, and I want to see
Okay.
if this attorney does not take care of it tomorrow, to put us in the direction to have a quorum and to be able to function, and we hire another attorney, then we have to do something with your salary. We have to do something with you if you're not going to resign.
So, Mr. Attorney, you see you have 4 people here that are giving you direction. We are your bosses. While we respect the opinion that you have given, it's not what we're going to go by. You have a direction from 4 people on this dais to make sure you file an injunction, to make sure we have a quorum up here at a special meeting as soon as possible, because that can happen within a week if you ask for it. That's the direction you've been given here tonight. Nothing more, nothing less. If you go off the script, you're not following what this city commission has asked you to do. My fellow commissioners, is that what you want to do? Let the attorney know. I don't want it to come out of my mouth that I said it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Get me 3 other colleagues up here, get the city working.
There you go.
Yes.
Anything else?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Meeting.
The other meeting's over, Phyllis.